Good afternoon and welcome to Locally Hated Podcast. I am your host, the News Lady. I got Greg with me today and my daughter Paisley. And then right here, immediately to my right, is my good friend Valerie. Valerie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So Valerie came to us today. I reached out to her. I've been Valerie and I have been friends since, did we go to elementary together?
Maybe sixth grade.
Yeah, maybe sixth grade. So we go way back, and I've been kind of following Valerie on all social media since social media existed. But recently, you've been very vocal about your recovery.
Yes.
So I asked her if she wanted to come because she's been very vocal about her recovery process and living sober and being, you're not a statistic,
Right.
you're,
I'm part of that 2%.
yeah. And it's a journey. So, I like the way that she says things, and I like that she's, very open about her addiction and the recovery process. So I wanted to bring her on to talk about it, because she's a big advocate for anybody that may be actively in addiction or struggling with recovery as it stands, because that is an everyday struggle. Yes. So I said, hey, I know it's a weird question. I had to text her out of the blue. Weird question. Would you want to talk about this on the podcast? And that's hard to ask somebody, because it's like, I didn't want you to be like, no, are you trying to embarrass me? Which was absolutely not the case, because I love you very much. And for anybody that may not know, Sandy, her dad, was also on the morning show with me at the radio station. So very, very much we're like vicarious family members. So, so what we'll do is we'll start with you just kind of telling us who you are and, just where you came from, who you are, and we'll just kind of roll from there.
My name is Valerie Cain, originally Valerie Gwynn. I am 42, just turned 42. I'm from Leesville. I've lived other places, but always ended up back here. My parents still live here. I have 2 children, a daughter that is going to be 22, and my son will be 17.
And you're about to be a grandmother.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah, how quick is that?
She goes Monday for her 36-week appointment.
Yeah, she came in the shop the other day and she's over it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, are you ready? And she was like, oh, I'm so done.
I told her, I said, I don't want to hear it. She was born in August and my son was born in September. So
yeah, she won't get to the really hard part of pregnancy. So not the hot part, know. So what do you remember most about like growing up here? Like,
I don't even know.
She's like, I don't know. Don't ask me questions.
No, I mean, it was family. I mean, that's what it was. Everybody, whether you were actually family or friends, it was always togetherness. Like,
yeah.
It's not so much like that anymore here, but people used to call this place Mayberry, and that very much is what it was like.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, Mayberry.
Like the whole area, or like?
I mean, we lived in Leesville, and my mom is from Leesville, so we've known a lot of the original Leesville people. And then we moved to Anacoco, but it was still like that there as well.
Wait, so maybe like where does Mayberry come from?
Andy Griffith.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where Mayberry PD. What you talking about? You never watched Andy Griffith?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, that's Mayberry PD, Party 5.
I do not know what Andy Griffith is.
All right,
Oh my
I
goodness.
failed.
My Gen Z. I'm a little more Gen Z than millennial today.
Yeah, he's a little more. His Gen Z's kicking in. So, if when you were younger, when we were in school, what did you want to be when we got out of school?
Well, at first I thought I wanted to be a respiratory therapist. And then they took us on that, go to work for a day. And I went to the hospital and then they were suctioning the lungs. I was like,
That's a terrible sound.
Look,
It
I don't
is.
have a weak stomach.
I do.
But that I could not handle. I always wanted to work in like the healthcare field. Like that's what I've done the majority of my adult life. I worked at Deer Creek at Doctor's Hospital.
You were there when my grandmother was in
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Yes. I worked there for several years. Started as a ward clerk and got trained in records and materials. I ended with being a CNA on the med surge floor. And then obviously I went unemployed for some years, but now I do in-home health care for elderly dementia patients.
Yeah, and dementia is really hard. It's a slippery slope. So, and Greg's dad owned the doctor's hospital. So, yeah, this is little Greg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it reminded me, about when I was 10 or so, my mom was homeschooling me, and we were just opening up doctor's hospital, and my mom was an ER nurse by trade, and so she kind of had to jump back in and like help get the OR running smoothly and all of that. So I would go up and do a lot of my work from like the nurses' lounge and stuff there at doctor's hospital. And occasionally I would scrub up and go in and, shadow the
Isn't that
surgeons
crazy?
and everything. And it was, I had the same experience. I was like, I don't know if this is for me,
I don't think the medical thing's for me.
Yeah, is that. And occasionally I would, my dad would be taking me to school or something, every now and then, and he would get a call and it was a code or something. And we would have to just rush over there and I'd help him work the code, at like 8-10 years old, and I'm like, I don't know.
It's all hands on deck when there's a code.
Something like that.
Man, I'm not going to do medical. He went as far away from medical as he could get. So, so you are one of 5, correct?
Yes.
And you're right in the middle.
I'm next to the youngest.
Yeah, you're next to the youngest. Okay. So growing up, were you like the wild one, the quiet one, responsible one?
No, black sheep all the way.
Oh, really? Yeah. Like, even when you were young?
I mean, I slept a lot whenever I was like little bitty, but yeah, I'm surprised you didn't know that.
No, well, I guess.
Are you guys really friends?
Right.
Well, I mean, it's like
been some years.
I was gonna say it's been a long time. Like we kept up with each other, like we always do on social media and stuff. But it's weird because and it may be because Marissa was much younger than us,
And
so
she really isn't though.
But it was like I don't even remember her in high school. And then Nancy is older than us, and then Alicia and Aaron, they weren't in school with us at all in high school.
No.
So really I wouldn't have had a dynamic to go off of.
Right.
Seeing you and like Marissa now couldn't be polar opposite. Like you could not be further.
No.
But it's funny because once you add Nancy in there too, like the dynamic is so diverse because none of them are alike. Like you've got Nancy, who is a children's librarian.
Yes.
And then you have Valerie, who is obviously, she just admitted the black sheep. And then you have Marissa, who's Elvis obsessed and stuck in the 50s.
Big hair,
makeup. Yes. I mean, just, it's the dynamic is so, and I love them all dearly, obviously. But the dynamic is different, and admittedly, I really don't know Alicia that well because she doesn't live here.
She's 9 years older than us.
Right. She doesn't live here. And I know Aaron a little bit, but he's more of like he's like a really smart nerd. You guys would get along really well.
Yeah.
He's really smart and he can fix anything, so it's like, but he's super straight laced. So I guess now that I'm thinking about it as adults, yes, that does make perfect sense. Yeah. Because Marissa is like a hippie. Mm-hmm. Like a free-spirited hippie. You would just have to know her. And she's redheaded. And it's funny, every time something happens, Sandy's like, would there be a redhead involved in this? And I'm always like, because it was, he thought he was going to sneak his birthday past us. And Marissa texted me one morning and she was like, hey, so it's Sandy's birthday. And I let it get all the way to the end of the birthdays. And I busted him out on air. And he was like, I know that there is a redhead behind this. And it's like he always knows. Yeah. So I guess that does make sense now that I think about it.
Yeah.
But you didn't seem in high school, you didn't seem bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe I just didn't. But I've never been judgmental though. I've never been like. But
that goes back to not having social media, not having cell phones.
That could be right.
I mean, I can think of right off the top of my head 3 parties that you and I were at in a field.
Basically.
One of them, there's a whole picture of me, you, Teresa, Lindsay, Candace, Dina.
Oh, that's where Chad and John were there.
Yes.
No idea. Where was that even at?
I don't remember.
I don't even know whose house that was at.
And you wouldn't even let me drive up here.
And that's why.
we need to take 2 cars. And
Yeah,
you were out in a field.
I have questioned that photo multiple times because I was just
saw it
like,
the other day, and I'm like,
where were we at? I feel like we were at Ben and Bob's house. It wasn't Ben and
No.
Bob's house. Okay. So then I really don't know.
it might have been Candace's aunt, I think Sherry's.
Candace's aunt?
Yeah, it might have been.
Are we sure it wasn't Dina's? Oh, anyway, I guess
Anyway,
it doesn't matter.
matter.
Yeah. I mean, I do. I just don't remember. I don't remember doing anything bad. I just don't. I don't remember doing
we weren't-
anything.
I mean, it is breaking laws, but we weren't.
If any cops are watching this, turn off your
Statute of
ears.
limitations.
This is all
is over with.
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah.
There were no witnesses.
So okay. So do you think that the lifestyle that you happened upon, do you think that it kind of started early then, or you think maybe you were going down a road early, or no?
I didn't happen upon this lifestyle. Or
I don't know how to phrase it without seeming like I'm being ugly. So
first and foremost, I want to say this: nobody wakes up and decides they're going to be an addict.
right.
There is always an underlying issue, whether it be mental health, whether it be pain, whether it be whatever. For me, I knew I had depression and anxiety. You know, there were things in my life that I was trying not to deal with because that was my thing. I always bottled everything up. I was put the game face on. We are going to get through whatever's going on and we'll deal with it later, but later never came. So that just became heavy and heavy and heavy. Well, then whenever I was 15, I had dental work done. And that was the first time I can consciously remember taking pain pills. Mm-hmm. And then that feeling of not feeling anything. And so, like, I was doing pills the whole time the rest of high school.
I would have never
knew.
known that.
Nobody
I would have
knew.
never known that.
And for years, even after being an adult, nobody knew that I was on drugs because I was such a high functioning addict. Never failed a drug test, always had a job. Just the longest that I went without doing drugs was the 2 9 months that I was pregnant.
Wow. See, and I would have never picked up on that even in high school. Because I mean, you didn't do bad in school. You didn't. So it wasn't like a slow slide. It was just like
It was straight into it.
straight into
Yeah.
it. I didn't even know that.
Now, obviously, later.
Did
on,
anybody know that?
I mean, people I was doing it with knew it, but
But
not,
you're like
no.
your family and
No.
okay.
No, I remember very well whenever I got arrested and Marissa was like, I need to know what all you have done. What all drugs have you done? And I said, I don't think you're prepared for that. She's like, no, I want to know. Well, then I start naming them and she's like, what?
And you would have to know Marissa to understand. She has the greatest heart, and she really does love her sisters and her siblings.
She stepped in as well as my parents and the rest of my family whenever I went to jail and for my children. And I am grateful for each and every one of them. But Marissa and I have always been best friends.
Yeah, Marissa, and she's not judgmental about it. It's like, I'm going to love you through this no matter what.
Right.
She's very strong like that. You know, she's just not. We got an ant. I don't want you to get bit. Whatever it is, she's just really good at that. Like, she's never been like.
And it's not just for me, it's for anybody.
It's anybody.
So-
She's just not, she's very much love you through it,
Right.
no matter what kind of person. So, so nobody was aware then.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't aware. So I didn't, I mean, obviously when we were back in high school, we probably went places and drank, but I would have
Right.
never known that there was anything else going on. I just wouldn't have known that. So did you know you were in trouble before everybody else did, obviously? Like, did you realize that there was a problem, or was it just like?
I would say whenever I realized it was an actual like, oh crap, was whenever my ex-husband and I separated and it's like the rug got pulled out from under me and I went in a very much downward spiral.
So did he know that you had a problem, or did he also? Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. both of us.
Okay. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah, both
because
of us.
it would seem very almost impossible to hide that from a partner.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Well, he knew.
Okay. Well, I mean, no judgment here.
You
If he
know.
happens to watch, no judgment for me at all. So were there any like warning signs or anything that anybody missed, do you think? Or,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, probably from them looking
yeah.
back, it'd been like,
Yeah.
And what time frame is this?
So the downward spiral are when I started at 15, and then let's see, 42, 33 is whenever it really got out of control, and it went way overboard.
I'll tell
So
you.
this is what, like early 2000,
Yeah.
2010
Yeah.
Yeah.
timeframe. So I mean, as we know now, I mean, because so much light has been shed on the opioid epidemic, and especially because of prescription. I mean, now you go get your wisdom teeth out, and it's like, thank goodness they'll push you to just Tylenol or whatever they
Right.
can. But yeah, I mean, it could happen to anybody. It happened to so many people during that time frame. Even some of my friends,
Yeah.
have struggled with the same thing, and yeah.
Did you ever have the mindset that you could stop whenever you wanted?
Always.
So you just were like,
It's not a problem.
yeah, it's not a problem.
It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, I thought I would think that would be a common issue. When I talk to people, a lot of people will be like, "But it's the same thing, believe it or not. It's the same thing when you're bigger." And I'm not saying this to make fun of anybody. For anybody that may be watching that doesn't know, I'm down like 80 pounds.
And you look great.
Yeah, my
Thank
mommy looks
you.
great. If anybody has anything bad to say, they can say it to me.
When I was at my biggest, which was almost 300 pounds, I did not think. I was like, I'm not that big. I'm not
Right.
that big. I'm not that big, and I guess I never, I turned a blind eye to it until I got a picture one day and I was just like, that's not me. And it was me, so I can I know that food probably doesn't seem like a good comparison.
That's an addiction as well.
But it very much is. And it's like, and I would tell myself, I'm not eating bad. I don't eat that bad. I don't, no, I did. As soon as I went on a calorie deficit, I was like, oh my God, the stuff that I was ingesting was so bad. And I know it wasn't drugs and it's not illegal, but my God, the stuff that we put into our bodies
is outrageous.
It's outrageous.
Food is more addictive to me than alcohol, than drinking.
Yeah, didn't you
and-
order $57 worth of Taco Bell?
No, I went to the
Gregorian.
store for that. I drove through.
He drove
I
through.
didn't order it.
That makes it better.
I don't know how he stays
and I
so
think
thin.
it was $72.
So, yeah, at Taco Bell. Yeah.
I think we had just recorded the podcast,
Yes.
and it was a long day, and I'm normally one meal a day kind of person. It's normally dinner or late lunch, something like that. But yeah, it had been all day. I
was starving.
I
Yeah.
ordered so much.
Did
We
you
had-
eat all of it at once?
I ate a surprising amount. I ate
Did you have
way-
leftovers?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, at least
Well,
there
that
was
makes it better.
leftovers.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, if you don't want to tell us, that's fine. At the height of your addiction, what was your drug of choice?
Well, this is what I tell people. There are many through the years
Okay.
because there's very few that I haven't done.
Okay.
The last being meth.
Okay.
That was
Was that the worst one?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that's the one that kind of consumes
That's the
you.
one that will make it very obvious that you're doing drugs.
Yeah. So you had just been functioning on opioids.
Well, and I did coke for a long time. I did
Coke.
Mom, this is a judgment-free zone.
I'm not
No, she's
judging.
not
I'm just
judging.
shocked.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, from my perspective, this is in my mind. Y'all would have to understand Valerie's dad. I love Valerie's dad, Sandy, and he's just like this really straight laced. He's a preacher, and I kind of kept up with Marissa. Valerie had fallen off of social media, but that's not uncommon. Like some people just don't do social media, so I would just never see her, and then you got arrested, and I saw the mugshot, and I remember crying.
And my face was everywhere.
Yes, I remember crying, and I'm gonna try not to cry now, because I was just like, oh my God, what happened? Because it's like, this is, how did I lose touch with her like this? And I remember calling Marissa, and I think I messaged her because I didn't have her phone number, And I was just like, is everybody okay? You know, like, and then there's like a part of you that feels bad because you're like, well, maybe if I had like been a better friend and.
I'm going to stop you right there. It is not anything that you or anybody else could have done. Because personally, anytime anybody was like, well, you need to stop doing this, down to smoking cigarettes, I'd want to go do it more. Addiction is you're never going to stop until you are ready to do it for yourself.
Right.
Never. It's never going to work.
Well, and I remember just being, well, and you know, it's like, and we can kind of talk about that too, because, you know, your family, everybody knows your family. And, you know, having your mugshot plastered on Facebook and social media and all that, you know, I know that had to, like, it had to hurt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so I knew what I was doing wasn't right.
Right.
And I knew that for a long time. And, you know, normally whenever females get married, they move their maiden name to their middle name. So technically my name would have been Valerie Cain. I didn't do that. I kept my middle name because I didn't want my actions to be reflected back on my family because it had nothing to do with them.
Right.
So luckily, I say luckily, blessed is what it is it wasn't until the big bust happened that people really was like, oh, that's Helen and Sandy's daughter. And then it was, you know, all the comments and
it broke my heart.
It is what it is. But this is what I have to say to those people now. Like, what if that was your family?
Yeah.
I mean, I deserved every one of those comments. Like I did. I put myself in that position, but those same people talking crap wouldn't appreciate it if it was them or their family.
That's correct. And like, I get that there's stuff that's public information, et cetera, et cetera. I don't get the online rhetoric of just continuing to drag people down when they're already obviously, you know, and was that the lowest point for you?
Oh, absolutely.
That was rock bottom.
Well, no, I say absolutely. So we got busted in March of 2021. Mm-hmm. I bonded out 3 days later, as soon as we found out what our bond was. And then I bonded out my ex a couple days later. And our whatever it's called, court date kept getting pushed back.
Yeah.
And I was back over staying at mom and dad's because I was trying to get away from my ex. But then he would show up in the middle of the night over there. And of course, nobody knew that. My parents didn't know he was coming over there. It wasn't a good situation. It was a physical situation. Like, it wasn't good. And in April of 2022, we had a court date, April 5th. And I went to court freshly beaten up, like busted lip. Our court date got pushed back again. And the lady was like, oh, she can't leave. She has a warrant. And literally that warrant, I will say this to the day I die, that warrant saved my life. Mm-hmm. Because literally I was just waiting to die for either him to kill me or just.
So were you still doing drugs then?
I mean, April 4th was the last day that I did anything, the day before court.
Really? Mm-hmm. So even after you had got busted,
oh yeah,
still doing it. Did your parents know?
Well, I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy to hide then.
Right.
So.
Well, they knew that you were continuing to use.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would come over there and I'd be like, I'm gonna stay over here and and then I'd disappear.
Yeah.
And I want to say that anybody that's in an abusive relationship, it takes 7 times to leave. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
The trauma bond is something that is harder to break than addiction for me. Because even after I got clean and I got out of jail and I got out of rehab, I was still trying to talk to my ex and be there for my ex and whatever, until one day I'm like, what am I doing?
Right.
And this coming February, 3 years ago, I went no contact with him. But it's like, when you've got so much emotional and mental and stuff going on, it just feeds that addiction because you just want to numb all of it.
You know, I learned something interesting the other day about how drugs, any drug that works on the dopamine system, and it's probably true for, you know, the opioid system in the brain as well, but like for ADHD medicine and like Adderall, any amphetamine derived ADHD medicine it works on the dopamine system, as does meth, although meth has a methyl group that makes it substantially more powerful, but it's the same on a lower scale. So anyway, when you take these things that act on your dopamine system, you have an artificial supply of dopamine, and your brain basically, wipes out the receptors that uptake that dopamine. And dopamine is responsible for your general happiness, motivation.
Right.
If you've ever, I know a lot of people are on ADHD meds like I am. If you ever, are on a dose of that and then stop for a little bit and you have that dopamine dip, what it feels like, how bad it feels. I can't imagine how it must be on meth, but it takes, with something like that, caffeine's different because caffeine, you can do a full reset of caffeine, and because there's the same effect with caffeine, but just different system in the brain. But your brain can completely rebuild receptors for caffeine in like 14 days. So 2 weeks, you can be back to your baseline of, if you have a caffeine tolerance or whatever, you can be back to your baseline. With amphetamines, stuff like that, that act on the dopamine system, it takes a lot longer.
Yes.
Which I can imagine that the rehab programs, I could just imagine that how vital that would be to provide a space where you can take time out to just go through that dip.
Yeah. I went to jail on April the 5th, so I detoxed in jail. Well, that was terrible.
That's terrible. Yeah.
And then I got out 98 days later, and I had already been talking to a rehab before I went in. Didn't know I had the warrant. So whenever I got out of jail, I isolated at my parents' house, and because I missed my daughter's high school graduation because I was in jail. Actions, consequences. So I wanted to move her to her college dorm, and I wanted to take Isaiah, my son, on to his first day of school. And then I left that very day, and I went to rehab in College Station, Texas, because I didn't want to go to a rehab in Louisiana because so many people I know that are just working the system, I was doing this for real. I went to rehab sober, and I still stayed there for 5 months.
Right.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times what happens is people go for like 30 days.
Yeah, and that's not enough
It's
time.
not enough. And I say this as somebody who has been directly affected by addiction, not myself personally, but family wise, it's not enough. You've got to have those months. Like you have to have months to go through this. And then even after those months in a controlled system, you have to reintegrate into the free world.
Right.
And where you can have ready access to it again and fight that.
Well, and for me, I graduated out of rehab because I had to come back for my trial. And
would you have stayed longer?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't feel like I was ready at all. And I went to a dual diagnosis, so it wasn't just addiction. They were also doing mental health. But I had to be back for court. And then I got put on probation. And normally, whenever you get sober, you change people, places, things. Well, I was legally required to stay in Leesville, where I did all of my dirt.
That's the part that always floors me. And I don't think anybody's doing it intentionally. I need to say that first. But there seems like and I've said this out loud before, there's like some vital step in between. Because even if you go to jail, let's say you didn't go to rehab and you went to jail for that 98 days and then you get out and there's no halfway house. You're just out. And imagine you detox for like a week. You're in jail for like a week. You bond out and you're like, okay, I'm going to beat this thing. But you don't have anywhere else to go.
Right.
Like you're going to go right back to where you were, like whether it's your home, your mom's house, whatever the case may be. And you go right back into the same exact setting that you were already in,
right,
around the same exact people that you're already with, and the truth of the matter is, and it took a really long time for me to convey this to the person that I love, that was an addict. Those people are not your friends. Like they think because they're like, and that was a really hard realization too. And I want to know your perspective on this. So these people you thought you were friends, because you do drugs with them, or your supplier or whatever the case may be.
Right.
and then you go to jail and you never see them. They don't come, they don't put money on your books. They don't, and I was trying to convey that. And it took a really long time for that person to be like, dang, you're right.
And see,
They're not here.
Well, and see, for me, nobody was there for me. Nobody did. I mean, my family, but I always did that for others because that's who I am as a person.
Right.
I'm not just gonna, and it might not be a lot of money, but I always made sure you had money on your books. I had money on my phone for you to call if you needed something. I'd make sure your family was good. Like, because to me, it's like friends are friends. I've always, regardless of the situation.
Right. But when it came down to it,
there ain't nobody.
it wasn't
Nobody.
your friends. And then, so in this particular situation, it was like we were the enemies.
Oh yeah.
Did you feel that way
Oh yeah.
too?
Absolutely.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
I mean, anybody that was trying to want better for me, it was like, for what? Like, because in my mind,
There's nothing wrong with you.
I'm lying to myself. Like, and this is the best way I could explain it to somebody. Like, the person that I was then didn't even know her world because there was all lies, all manipulation, all whatever, like having to remember I said this to this person and that to that person. Like, and I told Dad just the other day, and I've said this many times, I don't understand the lying thing. Like, I know that I was a liar, but now I'm just like, it's so easy to tell the truth.
It is. It's so easy.
Like, I don't even understand. So anybody that wasn't in my land of delusion was the bad people. Like, y'all, what are y'all talking about?
Yeah. And that was that was really hard to accept on my end because it was like, you don't love me, because my standpoint on it was I think you may need to stay here a little while. You probably need to go somewhere afterwards, and it's like, you don't love me. And tough love meant that I didn't love them.
Right.
And it wasn't just me. They said that too. I need to be very clear about that. But if I didn't do exactly what was asked of me, if I didn't give them the $20 or,
that's the manipulation
yes.
aspect of it.
And I never understood the lying either, because it's like you would have the truth in front of you and it would still be,
you would still say that is not true.
Yeah. And I'm just like, what is happening in there, that makes you.
Yeah, it's not rational, but, and that's what people should understand, I think, is it's not rational behavior.
Right.
Like you can't try to reason into it because
No.
it's not.
Well,
it's
and
not
that's-
really them.
that's my thing.
It's like being taken over.
That
you
was,
know,
I think that
I
was
would
my
imagine.
hardest realization was like, okay, so I'm sitting, because I always think I can talk anybody through anything, and it's like, how am I not making sense to you right now? Because I'm not judgmental.
Because we're not really there. Like we're here, but everything that you're saying is Greek and it doesn't matter. You're just talking.
Yeah. And that was, I guess that was the part I was like, man, this makes so much sense to me. Why don't you understand? And it's like, I'm just here to help you. But to that person, it was like, I was in public enemy number one.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, it is devastating for anybody that may be listening to this that is actively going through anything and you need help. I'm sure Greg can put up numbers here or whatever for later in the video to get you some help. You can reach out to us. You can send a message to the page. I will do everything in my power. I'm sure Valerie will too.
Well, I actually am on the board of a nonprofit now.
Good for you.
We started it online 8 months ago, and it's called Sobriety did that. And we started on TikTok, but now we're on all platforms. We have like 45,000 people following us combined on all the platforms. We do a live every morning at 5 a.m.
Mountain
Eastern.
time? Eastern time? Okay.
So it's 4 for me, and it's just celebrating people, or if somebody is in addiction and they're struggling, just to offer them support. Then we have group chats. We have 25 group chats that roughly 550 to 600 people are chatting in every day. We've got AA, NA, just all kinds. And it's just support. It doesn't matter what kind of recovery you're dealing with, because, some people have MAT, some people do AA, and it doesn't matter. Judgment-free zone, you need support, we're here.
Yeah.
And we are the first person we were able to help was actually in Monroe. We helped pay her rent for her sober living and got her groceries. Like, it's just, we're going to be doing grants for people that are in recovery that want to go and get a trade.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Because, whenever you come out of jail and you're sober and you're trying to get on your feet, getting that first step is hard, especially when people don't have family that are supported it. They burned all their bridges, whatever.
That's, I think, is one of the big things about addiction that maybe people don't know, is that a lot of times what'll happen is people will help and help and help and help and help until it's just like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely done. You are going to have to figure out. And I know that probably seemed to you like, wow, how could they do this to me?
No, I knew I had enough whatever to know that everything I earned, I did that. And I tell Dad, I was in a relationship that was physical. And I'm going to preface this by saying I do not condone domestic violence, but knowing the person that I was slick mouthed. Like, I earned some of that because, but
you also both were addicts.
Correct.
So, I mean, that's just a deadly concoction anyway.
Oh, yeah. And there's PTSD involved from him on the Army side. Like, it just wasn't a good all the way around. But I knew that whenever it reached a certain point, I deserved everything of being cut off. And I think what really made me realize when I went to jail that time, it was the last time that if I did not get sober, I would lose my kids forever.
Yeah.
Like, it would be done. And thankfully, I did have to earn the relationship back with them whenever I got out.
So you understood that part.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, like, for some people, it's like, okay, well, I'm sober.
It doesn't matter.
And it's like, yeah, but we've gone through this so many times.
Right.
Like, it's really hard for me to trust you.
Yeah.
And I think from the family perspective that I think a lot of times, it's like, man, how many times do I have to pay for this? And it's probably every time that it takes.
It is. And I'm going to speak for myself. I had to be respectful of that person because I'm the one that caused that trauma.
Right.
And I can't determine when your feelings aren't hurt anymore.
So when you got sober and you realized what you had done to basically all your people around you, having to deal with that sober, what was that like?
It was, I'm not going to say easy. It was smooth for me because I had been in rehab and I had worked on the mental side of it. And I actually did work the 12 steps because that rehab was AA affiliate, but working those steps really helped me because I still utilize some of those things in my everyday now. Now, had I not gone to rehab and I had not done that stuff, it would probably have been a lot more difficult.
So through your 12 steps, there was apologies you had to make?
Oh yeah, you have to make amends, but first you have to identify your own character defects. You have to start looking at yourself for real.
Yeah.
And not pointing the finger at everybody else. It's your fault that I'm doing this. It's your fault. It's all me. It's my fault.
Right.
And let's see what this is all about.
Yeah. So if you had to say, what is the biggest misconception people have about addicts?
That just because we're sober, that everything is hunky-dory A-okay and it's never going to be an issue again.
Yeah, I think that's...
It's a daily decision. Sometimes it's a moment back. I'm 4 years sober now. On April the 4th, I was 4 years sober. And there are still days where it's like, okay, I need to take this 10 minutes at a time because it's right here by me. It's never going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So just because anybody is sober, don't think that they're not still struggling.
Right. Well, and that's always a thing for me. Like I've noticed it lately, maybe y'all have too. And it's such an icky thing to me. I've noticed lately that people, and it's happened to me before. I need to be transparent. I'm not an alcoholic. I've never been an alcoholic, but if I don't want to drink, I just don't want to drink. And I think it's so weird that this thing has like started happening. It's like, what do you mean you don't want to drink? And it's like, okay. I always take into account, because it's not like I'm offering people drugs, but my assumption would be that it's like, okay, you don't know what this person's been through. You know, like you don't know their story, you know, so it's super weird, you know, to like be like, oh, you're a stick in the mud because you're not going to have a drink with me. Like you don't know if
Right.
somebody's battling something,
Right.
you know, and admittedly, I've been very transparent about this. It's really easy to think badly of people with an addiction until it is somebody that you love and care about and would lay down your life for. And that for me was a wake up call, you know, because it's like, you know, when we had the store, there was stuff in there that people would buy for, you know, and it was like, you know, and you would see them come in and some people laugh about it, and I don't judge people for laughing, you know, get your kicks however you want to, but when it actually affected me, it wasn't funny anymore.
No.
You know, like it was sad.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know, you can say stuff because I'm going to be real with you. I see videos on TikToks and I'm like, oh dang, you know, like, and it's like, and it's sad. It's super sad, you know, because we actually, I mean, we had the stuff in the store and there was an instance that happened and then we were just like, we threw a box 6 foot tall out in the dumpster. That was it, you know, and that was Galen's call.
What stuff?
So they make these pipes that have flowers in them. And I honestly, I never
Pipes
thought
with
much of,
flowers in it?
yeah, it's called a glass rose.
Oh,
And
okay.
you're able to buy these. And
It's a meth pipe.
Yes.
Okay.
They take the rose out of it. It's not, you know, it looks harmless enough if you don't know what people are using it for.
Right.
Because admittedly, like the first time I saw them, I was just like, what is that? You know, and then I noticed the people that were buying them and over a course of time, it just become like a, yes, it sells and you make money on it. But at what point do you have to say, I don't want to be a part of this and I don't want to contribute to this, you know, and that was a decision that we made because it just got to the point where it was like, because at first it wasn't a lot, but then it's like when they know you have them, it's a lot, you know, and then you see it more and it's increasingly like one time I remember because there was different types. There's the straight ones and I don't know what they use them for. Okay. And then there's the ones with a little bowl on them. And I knew those were for methamphetamines. And the guy would come in and he would come in like every day and buy one of the straight ones.
You can do hot rails with those too.
And I don't even know what that is. And he was like, I bet you don't know. He was like, I put the rose on my wife's breakfast when I make her breakfast. This is what he said. And then I make a wind chime out of the glasses. Now you and I both know that's not that's the most fragile glass. I mean, like it would, if you mashed it too hard, it would break.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the stuff that they would tell you. And it just got increasingly worse and worse and worse.
There's no way you could make a wind chime.
No, you could not make a wind chime out of that. And then one night, like a phone call came in and it's really sad and it's not even my people, you know, and they were just like, oh, we need a glass rose. And this is like 1:00 in the morning. And we're like, we're not open, you know, and it's a discussion between two people. And they're like, well, can you just like hand it to us out the back door? And it's like, yeah, nobody's at the store. Like we don't live here.
Right.
But there was no way to convince them.
No,
Just
yeah.
at the back door. You're
Yeah,
like,
there
you're
was
like,
no back
"God
door."
dang, how much do you need your decorative thing?
Yeah.
These people really love
How
these
bad do you need
decorative
to make a wind chime?
Yes.
I gotta have the rose for my wife's breakfast.
Yes. And it was like, and it was so sad. And they were like, we don't know what to do. And like, and then the more you find out, the more it's like horrifying, you know, like, cause it's,
What's horrifying is I'm sitting here going, you could have done it this way. You could have done it this way.
Well,
you could
that's
have
what I was
done
about
it
to
this
say is like,
dang, they should have called me. I could
way. How
have.
new are they at this?
well, that's what I was going to say is like, you know, I'm not a huge proponent of the whole, like, you know, provide the needles thing, you know, because the heroin people are going to do it. But at the same time, it's like, it is true that like, if you can't go to the gas station and get your glass
Right.
thing, you're going to find a way, I'm sure, to do that.
I
meth.
found out through this,
And it's probably going to be a lot riskier.
found out through the process, they will use a light bulb. And I blew my mind it blew my mind. And, we had inmates working for us. They were work release inmates a long time ago. And I remember one of them, he just tugged on my heartstrings because he was very clearly not educated. He didn't know how to read and write, And I remember I cried about that too because I'm a big softie. And because I was like,
You are a crier.
oh my God. Well, okay. So you're looking at this grown man, right? And we're out at the property and we're doing some stuff with the fence. And I was like, tell me how long that is, like with a tape measure. And he stretches out. I was like, how long is it? And he didn't know. Right. And I was like, do you not know how to read a tape measure? And he said, and he just kind of hung his head. And he was like, no, ma'am. And I said, do you know how to read? No, ma'am. And, he's going through life, and then it's like, no wonder you were manufacturing methamphetamine. You have no idea
Right.
how to read and write. And
I can't read a tape measure, but I can make some meth.
yes.
I won't blow myself up, but
Yes.
that tape measure has got me.
Well, and it was just so sad to me because he had such a good heart.
Yeah.
Like he was not a mean person, and of course, I mean, obviously I know he did wrong, but when he was sober and he was in when he was in work release, he's in jail, he can't get a hold of drugs. He had the kindest heart, and I'm like, my God, no wonder he was doing meth and manufacturing meth and selling meth. He can't get a regular job.
Right.
So like for me, that was when it was like, okay. And that was before I was directly affected by it. And I even started then like trying to take into consideration what everybody may be going through because you just don't know. Because I asked him, I would always ask him, when we would get a new inmate, what are you in jail for? And when they're in the work release program, they're not violent offenders at all. And he just looked at me and he grinned real big and he said, I sold $28,000 worth of meth to an undercover cop. And in my mind, I'm like my first thought was, you didn't get the indication that this guy, most people that are on drugs don't have that much money. And he did this like, it was like 3 transactions, huge transactions, back to back to back to back. And it was like, but the poor thing, he didn't know. And to me,
well, there's a whole supply chain above, like people on the ground aren't the ones buying 28,000 of meth,
right.
That was a big
well,
bust.
and then I asked, I couldn't help it. I wanted to know like, what is in it? Okay. Like, cause he was making it. He was the one making it. And I'm just like, okay, so just what's the recipe? Like I want to know.
Tell me, ChatGPT, what's the recipe?
I wanted to know, like, okay, what's in it?
I promise you guys, my mom is not making this at home.
I don't even remember. I don't remember the ingredients, and I'm not going to tell you.
Wait, is isopropyl alcohol used in some process of it?
I don't.
I think I remember.
I never manufactured.
No,
Okay.
When he got to, I remember.
Because the reason I ask is because I've gotten some weird looks going around town because this new resin 3D printer that I have takes a lot of isopropyl alcohol to wash the prints after they're done. Like I have 20 gallons of 99% anhydrous IPA like in there. And I started buying
Greg
it
is
online.
also not making drugs.
But no, I'm not. I swear to God, I'm not. But like I've been to.
Maybe they think you're drinking it.
I doubt it.
I would
think
hope
I would
not.
be alive.
Okay.
But I've gotten some weird looks, I will say, because I've, buy
this
them
guy's
out
a
of stock,
germaphobe.
buy them out of stock at Dollar General. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm 3D printing, I swear. So if anyone has
You
seen
might
me
can
around
order
town
it
buying
in
isopropyl
bulk on
alcohol,
Amazon.
Yeah.
that's what I started doing.
We
Yeah.
need to take
He's
Greg
like, I got-
to like a Costco. Just buy him a
carry
giant
out all the
isopropyl
alcohol. So I don't remember exactly the ingredients that he told me. I just remember distinctly that gun bluing was involved in his recipe. And I was like,
Gun bluing?
hold on. Okay, so when you have a gun barrel and it's got like that blue sheen on it,
Right.
that's gun bluing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, y'all, you're smoking that? Like, and in my mind, he acted like it was no big deal. And in my mind, I'm just like, Bubba, you got to know that's not good for you.
Oh, it's the chemical that they put on the barrel to then do the tempering process
Yes.
or whatever. I can't remember what it's
Gun bluing. And I was just like, what? And Listen, I don't remember the rest of the recipe. If I did, I wouldn't give it to you, but I really don't remember it.
I'm just gonna let you know, anybody that's smoking meth doesn't care what's in it. That's
okay.
not what we're thinking about.
Okay, I was going to get around to that. That's the scary part because I was watching this video one time and it's funny, but it's not funny. And, you know, everybody gets butthurt about everything you say on the internet these days. But this lady cracked me up so bad. And she said, do you know why I'm not a crackhead anymore? Because crack isn't real anymore.
Right.
And she was like, it's always cut with something, blah, blah, blah. And she was just like, if real crack still existed, I could change motors in my car overnight.
That's really why I quit doing Coke, because Coke was turned to crap here. And that's when I started doing meth.
We should not be laughing about
Look,
this.
I was going to say this whenever you were just saying that. I thought about it. I'm laughing about this because this is my experience. I have made amends. I have owned my stuff. I also laugh at trauma. So
Same. I deal with-
addiction is not funny.
It's not
It's
funny.
not funny at all. I laugh at my story because I'm the one who lived it.
Well, and I think that's kind of where her perspective was, because she was just like, if I could get good crack, I would do good crack. She was like, but that there's no more good crack. Yeah. Well, and then I'm finding out recently that, like, you know, there's a lot of like the people are lacing it with fentanyl, and it's not good fentanyl. It's bad fentanyl, you know, and it's like, I don't know. That's really scary.
Thankfully, look, this is how, you know, I'm going to say this. God is involved in my story, like all the way. Because when we got busted and after our stuff got pushed back and I went to jail and rehab, all of that, I got out of the game before fentanyl really started getting big.
Yeah.
I got a possession of fentanyl felony. Like, I will have that for the rest of my life because I had one pressed pill in my possession when we got busted. And it came back tested with fentanyl in it.
Oh, okay.
So I got out of it before fentanyl got like it is now. And I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because it's just since I've been home from rehab and been sober, I know 5 people from Vernon Parish that have OD'd because of fentanyl.
I carry Narcan in my car. That's a true story.
Like, fentanyl is I mean, it's in the microgram scale, right?
Yes.
So, like, if you're going to press pills or something like that, I mean, you got to really, like, know what you're doing.
None of them giving a crap about knowing exactly how much to put in.
Yeah, they're not pharmacists.
So you're going to die.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well, I mean, and Paisley even, like, when she found she had the Narcans in my console.
I was going through like a bag because I needed it for a field trip. It was like a cute little brown backpack that she hadn't used in forever, and it's filled with to the brim with stuff she doesn't touch anymore. And I cleaned it out and I handed her all the stuff, and I was holding it in my shirt and dropped it on her bed. And I picked it up. And whenever I found it, I was like, I think this is Narcan, but I don't want to sound stupid, so I'm not going to say anything.
She was like, Mom, why do you have Narcan? And I was just like, you know, I didn't know when I would run across the person that was, you know, like, what if I walk in, you know, and they're overdosed, or anybody. It didn't matter to me. If I came across somebody, you know, and I don't advocate for people being addicts, but I also don't want to see anybody's kid laying there overdosing and know that there's something so inexpensive.
And that's the reality of it now.
Yeah.
That you could walk anywhere and it happened right in front of you like that.
Yeah.
That's God, that's so scary that so little of it is deadly. We gotta stop that because you know that there's got to be distribution sources that are sophisticated to be able to put this stuff out.
Right.
You know, I don't know if the majority of it is like, you know, prescription abuse or something where it's coming from, you know, legitimate laboratories or whatever, or what. But yeah, we're gonna nip that in the bud because
it's scary.
Yeah, and if you see someone ODing on fentanyl, I mean, I guess you wouldn't necessarily have a way to know, but just anyone ODing,
right?
Well, they snore.
Be careful about, like don't.
That's the thing is it's like a snore. It's it's something that's really weird to hear because you kind of think that they're asleep, but you can't shake them awake. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there will be, you know, fluid coming out of their mouth or something like that. You know, it's pretty indicative of something's very wrong.
Wasn't there just, I think I saw a news story just the other day about like 5 or 6 cops that were on an OD scene, like an OD call, and had just brief skin contact.
They had to be Narcan.
They had to be Narcan.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And that's how they slice it and dice it, they say, so much now that it's so dangerous to even come into contact with it. And I want to ask you something. And if this is too sensitive a subject, you feel free to tell me. So for those of you that don't know, your uncle was the dare officer.
Yes.
Thad Bales, may he rest in peace, one of the greatest men I ever knew in my lifetime. Did you ever feel like he was disappointed in you?
Absolutely.
I have, genuinely.
I have literally said, Uncle Thad is rolling over in his grave.
Right.
Because how am I related to the dare officer?
Right.
But at the same time, I know he's proud because I got sober.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like I would have felt if that was my uncle, I'm going to be clear. He's not even my uncle. And I would have felt like he was specifically judging me from heaven. Because it's like we all passed the DARE program.
Sure did. And I was involved in that program.
Right.
On
it was
stage.
Your uncle. He was your uncle. So and it's not funny. We're not laughing about addiction. You have to laugh through things to, process them. And, it doesn't have to be so dead serious. It is very scary.
Here's the thing. I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have to have a positive mindset.
Yes.
I cannot... Even in the worst situation since I have been sober, I still find the good in it. Because if I allow myself to go down the negative side, then I'm stepping backwards. I'm not
correct
continuing to move forward. So being able to laugh about it is staying positive. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do today is going to change what I did back then.
Right. My person the other day, we were talking and, they were laughing. They were talking about something they had done, when they were in the throes of addiction. And, he's just going on and on about how, I can't believe I did that, he said, and I was just lying to everybody. And I thought that nobody knew, that I was on anything. And he was like, and everybody knew. And, he's laughing about it. And he was like, I can't believe I did that, And so there is a healing nature of being able to kind of be like, dang, what was I thinking? To be able to go back and look, and
that's the thing. I share the good, the bad, and the ugly of my story and about recovery, because I never want to give anybody the misconception that recovery is easy. It is absolutely not.
No.
And I just have this desire to help everybody that I can, because especially here, there is very little help.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of drugs and no drug outlet,
right?
Help outlets.
And I'm going to jump back to whenever I got put on probation and have to stay here. My probation payment a month was almost $700.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't include regular bills like rent, lights, all the things. Thankfully, I'm blessed. My parents let me stay in their little house, but most people don't have that.
Yeah. That's how they stay in it. It's such a vicious cycle.
It's like there's no outlet, because who can really afford to pay $700 a month and regular bills?
Right.
Nobody. So it's a revolving door, but thankfully I completed probation with 0 sanctions. So
thank God.
Yes. Very few people do that in Vernon Parish, because there's no...
I think that's the sad part is, sometimes you'll see the comments on social media and it'll be like, oh, this is the same person getting arrested, and it's like, yeah, they're a drug addict and they're getting out and they're waiting for a court date and they're going right back to where they were. There's no resources. And I'm not knocking anybody. I don't think I'm not judging anybody or saying it's anybody's fault that we don't have resources. I think it's just become this thing and nobody really knows what to do.
Something we should bring attention to.
Right.
And
absolutely.
And where is the closest facility?
There's
one in Crowley.
I think there's one. I know there's one in Lacassine.
There's one in Monroe.
Yeah. And then some further down south.
So, it is so important. I feel like that we get a facility somewhere near. I mean, as bad as our drug problem has become here, we've got to have something. Something has to change, because that that time off and time where you are separated from the people, the drugs, the rest of your life, where you're dedicating this time to take that space and for your brain to rebuild the receptors. I mean, it's a brain chemistry thing.
Right. It is.
It's not just like a personal journey thing. It's like it's a bunch of that.
It's
too,
a complete
but
reset.
There's a huge part of this process that you cannot control. It is just a chemistry thing,
Right.
And that has to. It just takes time,
Right.
And a
time
lot of
away.
things with like the whole brain chemistry is that like a lot of kids my age are doing this stuff. Like they're drinking alcohol, they're doing drugs, like smoking weed.
Well, and you know, I should say, like, if there's anyone listening who, you know, is thinking about doing meth or opioids or something like that, it's like these are not the same as alcohol, nicotine.
No.
You wipe out those receptors first time. You know, that's why the slogan, I would guess, is for meth is like not even once. You know,
Yeah.
because it's and then it just takes time, and then once you're over that hump, I can imagine that feels very relieving.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I will say that really just the past year, I have felt more like myself. And then I got diagnosed with lupus, and I was like, how did I make it through 23 years of drug addiction? And now I'm losing my mind. I didn't know I had lupus at the time, but you have to give yourself patience, like grace. You have to give your body rest, because your whole entire body, every part of your body is going to go through a hard reset. Especially me, 23 years of putting all this stuff into me. But once you allow yourself to have that time, it's an amazing feeling, because it's like you're learning who you are sober. And then once your body starts feeling better, it's like you are a whole brand new person.
Were you ever afraid of who you were going to be sober? Or like apprehensive about it? Or
I don't know if I even really thought about it like that. The only thing I worried about is whenever I got put on antidepressants in December, is that I wasn't going to be funny anymore. No, I really asked my dad. I was like, "What happens if I'm not funny anymore?
what happens if I don't have a
He
sense
said,
of humor?
"If you're asking me this, I think you'll be fine." I don't know that I really thought about it, because you have to think. I was 15 years old when I started doing them. I didn't know who I was as a person anyway.
You don't. Yeah.
You know, so
It probably seemed like an irrelevant thing at that
Yeah,
point. You're
who
like,
cares?
this has got to happen. Whoever I am after this, it's got to happen.
Yeah. It's got to happen.
And how long was that process like for you to, when did you start noticing that you thought you were kind of over the hump? Like, all right, I'm over the worst of it. I can do this.
I would say whenever I went to rehab. I mean, I went to rehab sober because I had been in jail.
Right.
And because I had isolated myself before I went to rehab, I didn't have any desire. Like, I knew that I had to do it this time. Before, I would be right back out there as soon as I got out of jail. But I knew I didn't want to lose my kids, my family forever.
So how long was this after your last usage? Like
98 days.
98 days.
And then you self-isolated for how long before you went to rehab?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So, question. How hard was it for you to process that you missed Avery's graduation?
Hard. I have let my kids down a lot through the years. You know, they just saw their mom sober when they were 12 and 16.
Right.
You know, but missing her graduation, and most people don't know. I mean, I don't know who all knows this or not, but my parents have legal custody of my children. So the knowledge of not having legal custody of my kids, missing her graduation, was devastating.
Were you mad at them at the time? Like when they had to step in and do that, were you mad?
No. I mean, I was surprised it didn't happen before then. And I don't know if I've ever actually like talked to my dad about this, but he told me there was a court date. I never got served papers, whatever, because I was not really in communication with anybody. But he told me a court date, and it really could be me because I was high. But I was angry at him for a while because I thought he told me the wrong date.
Oh, you were blaming him.
Right. But now, since I've been sober, looking back, even if he did tell me the wrong date, thank you, because why would you want me going in court looking like that?
Right.
You know, but for a long time I was angry, but I was still in addiction. I wasn't looking at anything rationally.
Right.
He's only ever he's only ever said something to me about like some sort of discussion when I was talking about my personal experience. He briefly discussed that particular situation, and I just remember him. It was a very fatherly, tough love, and you could tell that it ate him up.
Oh yeah.
You know, but at the same time, he was just like, I had to do what I had to do.
Right.
And I was not gonna let anything happen to those kids.
No, and one thing that even my parents will tell you, all through the years, whenever I knew my children wouldn't be safe with me, I always took them to my parents' house and left them. That is something that I always.
So even in the throes of addiction, you knew when it was not good for them.
There was several times throughout the years that that they were better over there.
So that just tells you that drug addiction does not excuse you to abuse your children.
No, it doesn't.
So just to put that out there.
And it doesn't excuse you of doing anything to your kids. Like you should always do. If you're not doing what's best for yourself, what makes you think you can do the best for them?
Right, right. So even not having them, okay, let's go there. Because that goes to your point of you have to decide when you've had enough. So even losing your kids, like custody of your kids, you still went through addiction. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was, when the actual court date was, I think it was 3 months before I went to jail. And then I got sober. So like that was very fresh. And then I missed Avery's graduation. So like that whole thing was the end and the beginning.
Right.
Because I was not going to have anything if I didn't do it this time, because the legal part's already gone. Like
right.
I don't,
and you don't really have much to do in jail but to sit there and think about every bad thing that you did, huh?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I threw myself straight into my Bible.
Yeah.
Like straight into it.
Yeah. I would imagine that's once you go through the detox and then you just have to sit there and think about what you did and how you're going to fix it and how you're going to get out of it. Because you don't have a choice. You're there within four walls.
Was there a sense of relief there at all?
While I was in jail?
In the initial, I know that sounds crazy, but like, you're like, all right, you knew that you had to stop, and you're like, okay, now I'm being forced to.
There was a relief of I was out of the situation.
Right.
But I will say not really, because there's only one female dorm over there. Mm. So every day, multiple people are coming in that are messed up, getting arrested. On the slim occasion, things get brought into the dorm. So
so it was still, it wasn't even an isolated environment. It was
right.
And that's awful.
Yeah. Jail is not, it's not always ideal, because on the off chance that you get to have to be a cellie with somebody that's coming off of it.
Oh, well, in the female dorms, there's no cellie. It's just all bunks in a big open
it's a
room.
big dorm. Yeah. So,
well, I mean, even rehabs sometimes.
Yeah.
You have people actively bringing in, drugs or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I feel like, look, I'm generally not for government regulation on things. I'm for little government intervention as possible, but I feel like we have to have some regulation around these facilities and
the
availability and payment for these facilities. Like, this is...
The problem is, like, I went to rehab sober. I can understand having to stay at the detox house long enough to get paperwork processed, whatever. They made me stay there for 10 days because it's all a money grab for insurance companies.
Right, which is happening
everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the deal. Like, the facility, everything they helped was great. But if they still had to get me all the meds, even though I wasn't coming off of anything because the insurance requires it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you're making these people do things to, like, because
let me ask you about that. Because I I've never been an addict, but I find issue with giving somebody a drug to help them get off drugs. Because here's the thing, you can abuse it just like you did the drugs.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the specific one that I'm referring to is the only one that I know about. If there's other ones out there, I don't know about it. But it's Suboxone. So if you don't have a drug addiction and you took Suboxone, you're going to get high from Suboxone.
Right.
So by giving you Suboxone, I feel like you're creating a separate addiction. Or is that not?
No, because it goes right back to what he was saying, the receptors.
And you should understand too that, like I was saying with caffeine, the brain's neuroplasticity applies differently to different things. So like caffeine, your brain can recover 100% pretty much your entire life. As far as from my little research, I'm not a neuroscientist, but just from what I researched. But higher doses of amphetamines and meth destroy some of that neuroplasticity over time, meaning sometimes in some situations your brain can't fully recover. And I don't know if Suboxone works differently on the receptors where it has some sort of less damaging effect, or I don't know.
I have to look that up because I don't know. One of the guys that is over the nonprofit, his wife is a PA in Ohio, and so he talks a lot about brain receptors, and he has a lot of knowledge on that. But it's like this: if I was an ADHD and I got Adderall from somebody, it would make me wired because I don't need that.
Right.
Now, I
see what you're saying. So if you're not an addict and you take that, obviously it's going to do that to you. If you are an addict, it doesn't.
It's not the same effect as if this person over here that doesn't need it takes it.
Okay, I got what you're saying. Okay, so that makes more sense to me because I was reading about how, there was Suboxone abuse, and I'm just like, wait a minute, I thought this was the thing that.
Well, also I could imagine that like when you're in the throes of addiction, is Suboxone for meth?
I think it's for a lot of
general like dopamine receptor stimulator. But like if you're trying to get away from that friend group, from the whole atmosphere, I would imagine that number one, getting Suboxone, because it's like alcohol. I mean, some alcoholics are so deep in that they can't stop. They will literally die if they stop cold turkey, and you have to wean yourself off.
Oh yeah, like we do not encourage anybody to cold turkey off alcohol because that's seizures, that's all kinds of stuff.
So do you eventually, as somebody that may have be using that, is that something that you eventually do come off of?
If that's what you and if that person and their provider, you can taper down over time.
You can taper down on it. Okay, I got you.
But some people, were on pills or whatever for so long that they're on the lowest dose of Suboxone and they will not get off of it because they know the second that's not, and it's regulated,
they're going to go back.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
But it's like
that makes sense to me.
Try telling your meth dealer you want to try tapering off. Like, I think I'm going to,
Yeah, it's probably not. That's not going to work out.
I do have a question about the whole starting meth thing. A lot of people say that you'll never get as high as you do the first time.
That's absolutely
and that's
correct.
why people continue to do it because they're chasing it.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to know if that was
absolutely facts.
So Paisley, obviously Paisley goes to a wonderful school where that's not an issue. But in general, in your friend, like in your age group, do you see more is it more nicotine? In your age group, is like that what's going on, or I know that there's like a vape thing going on, and then
vaping is not cool. I don't know who convinced anybody of that. If you vape, I'm not gonna judge you, but if you're doing it because you want to be cool and you want to fit in, you're a loser. I'm sorry, really sorry.
Well, that's not nice, but
no, it's true.
It's also it's also not. I don't know. It's not. It kind of worries me because of the things that have come out about it. And listen, there's people use that to get off of other things, and it just is what it is.
You want me to tell you my reasoning?
Sure. I forgot you vape.
That's why I press.
Listen, I'm not judging you.
Her. Oh yeah.
Right.
I tell people all the time that they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't be vaping," and I'm like, the number of things that I quit.
Listen,
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about vaping.
yeah, there. I mean, it could be like, and that's a lot of times I have to put things into perspective because I'm like, well, this could be much worse, and it's not the end of the world because I've been there. So it's not that this is not that bad. It's not the end of the world. So, I mean, once you've gone through that, whether it's personally or with a beloved family member, it shifts your perspective on a lot of things because you're not just, because a lot of times if you thought like one of your kids had a drink or something, that was the end of the world, oh my God, you got drunk somewhere, blah, blah, blah. It's the end of the world when one of them is in active meth addiction.
It's the end of the world whenever your family member's in addiction and you haven't seen or heard from them in months and months and months.
Yes. And that was also scary because it was like, man, the things that would happen would, like you never knew when they would or would not have a phone. And it's not funny. And I usually say it's like funny, but you can genuinely tell when somebody has an addiction like that because if you go to search them on Facebook, they have 19 Facebook accounts because because they lose their phones. Right. They, and it's like, when I say it's funny, you can tell. I'm not meaning like it's ha 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 there. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that's a telltale. Like when somebody is in active addiction, they're constantly getting hacked, whatever that means, and it's sad. It's really sad because when I was a 911 dispatcher, we used to have this person call and hand to God, there would be like fireflies in their yard and they would think it was drones, and it's
true.
Yeah.
And you're having to, and you are not convincing that person that is not drones, that are trying. Okay. Tell me about that. I want to talk about that for a second. Is it a constant state of paranoia?
I don't know because see, I'm so ADHD, okay? Mm-hmm. That meth actually chilled me out.
Oh.
Like, I tell people all the time, me doing meth was like you smoking weed. I was cool. So I only hallucinated one time, and that's because I had been up for almost 21 days, and I was driving through New Lano, and I saw kids run across the road in front of my car, and I immediately pulled over and got out of my car and walked to the hotel and went to sleep.
21 days.
Yeah, I don't recommend it at all.
The amount of stuff that you would have to take to be up for that long that's scary.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know.
You weren't always paranoid about like the cops finding out or
no, because I think that because I had done it, been in that lifestyle for so long,
you just kind of got lackadaisical about it.
It is what it is. That's the risk that you take. And once I became an adult, I was always on the not just the using side of it. So there was always already precautions and this and that. Like So I wouldn't say I was lazy about it. I wasn't worried. I
want to say that at the heart of all this, obviously Valerie and I were friends when she started doing this, and I need to be very clear. She was a very good friend because she never offered me drugs. So
that I never did to people that were close to me.
That
because
tells
how
you,
could I keep my secret if I'm offering you drugs?
Right. Well, too, it kind of tells me that somewhere in there, like even at your worst, you still knew, that you were still a good person in there. I think that's the part everybody forgets.
Well, and see, this is the deal. Like, whenever I was with my ex, we always had two houses. One house people stayed in that didn't have nowhere to go. Yes, I was selling them drugs, but we were also providing them and their kids a place to stay. I was cooking for them every day. Like, no, it doesn't cancel each other out, but people has actually told me since I've been sober, like, we always knew you had a good heart.
Yeah.
Because you always were taking care of us even whenever you weren't doing good.
Right. And I think that's indicative of that because I think automatically everybody always thinks that whether they're a former addict or an active addict. Because to be quite frank with you, when you're in the throes of addiction, you're going to do stuff that you would not normally do. And a lot of times that whether you're in jail or whether you're on the street or whatever the case may be, somehow translates to a multitude of bad tattoos. Some of them are on their face. And I just like, and I know that tattoos, have such a stigma around them already, but you really don't know what somebody's gone through. If they have bad jailhouse tattoos, but they seem like a pretty chill person, probably have had something going on in their life, that you don't know about, and you probably shouldn't judge them because of that.
Absolutely.
Because I've had to learn that. It was a learned behavior that I would prejudge somebody because of that anyway. And I had to break that behavior because you just don't know what life somebody has lived, and it will humble you in ways that you would never imagine, into being more empathetic with people, regardless of what their situation is. And admittedly, I used to be pretty nonchalant about it. And it's not a nonchalant thing. It's actually very sad. It's really sad. And then once you go too far, and I don't know where that threshold is.
There's not a set threshold.
Yeah, you're what they call burnt.
Yeah.
And you have done permanent damage that cannot be undone. And you should hope that particular time is not the time that you take it too far.
And that's what the sad thing is about the drugs that are out now is these kids are getting burnt immediately.
Yes.
And there's no coming back from it.
There's no coming back from it.
People will be like, how did you do drugs for 23 years and you still got your brain? Because it wasn't the same drugs that's out
correct.
there now.
Well, and two, you have to take into consideration at what age they're doing it. How much did they do it? And what was in it? There's so many factors in it now. And then what people also don't realize is they'll be like, oh, you're burnt. Well, some of that is drug-induced mental illness, and that's a real thing.
Yes.
That's a real thing, and I didn't know that until I had to personally experience it. And and it's really hard. I've seen people that are fully recovered, that every now and then, they get, and it's very real that it's something it has given them lasting effects, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad. So throughout this whole process, is there anybody that was worth losing that you lost throughout this whole process?
No.
Not that was worth losing. Everybody
that's not in my life don't need to be in my life.
That's a great way to look at it.
My whole thing is, if you were in my life and I got sober and
that's a problem for you.
and you're nowhere in the picture, then you didn't need to be brought into this part of it.
Who was the hardest person to win back over in your sobriety?
I wouldn't say any of them were more difficult than the other. I mean, the only people that I was worried about mending relationships with was my family.
Right.
I will say that my children probably, but that's what I expected.
Yeah.
It took them a little longer to trust that I wasn't going to leave them. I wasn't going to run off with the next guy, and not that I ran off with guys all the time, but I did have a history of putting whoever I was with before my children. But I also have provided my kids, counseling, whatever you need to do to process through this trauma that I caused you, to where we're not carrying this on.
Did you ever have like a sit down conversation with them to where you were like, you just kind of laid it all out? And
oh yeah, we've had I've always told my kids age appropriate information, because obviously whenever I was in the game doing things illegally, I needed my kids to know, if anything happens, this is what you do.
Right.
And don't do that. Like, don't put your kids in that situation. But, I'd have my kids riding around with me while I'm going drop stuff off. Like, just stupid stuff.
But it seems like normal everyday stuff when you're doing that.
Right.
This is just what we do.
So before I got sober, there was already conversations being had. So once I got sober, obviously, yes, there's more conversations, but it wasn't brand new to them.
Right.
So
I would think as a child that would probably be a lot to take in and then forgive somebody for, and then try to think that they're never going to do that again. That would probably be a lot.
but here's the thing, that's all they knew.
Right. Right.
So it wasn't like our life was this way and then it changed to
Are
this.
they happier now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And our relationship is, the relationship I have with my children now is nowhere near anything that I could describe.
Do they joke about it with you now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, at least
Everybody jokes about it.
Okay.
Like Marissa will be like, oh, you did drugs? Oh my gosh, Valerie, you went to jail?
that would be something Marissa would do.
Oh yeah.
Like what? I'm telling you, I remember that day like it was yesterday when the mugshot got put out. And I was truly heartbroken. I remember like sending messages like,
Have you seen the mugshot?
No.
you would not.
I got you.
She's proud of her mugshot because it's not the same person. It is truly not the same person. And I remember seeing it
Here, wait, I'll
because
pull it up.
admittedly, he's going to pull it up.
Just search Valerie Cain, Burning Paradise. I'm laughing, but really that's all you got to do.
Well, okay. So the thing was I had not
Valerie.
seen Cain. I had not seen you in a number of years. And I was just like, that's not Valerie. That is not Valerie. Go to images.
Yeah.
It's
That one
that
right
one.
there, the third one.
The third one.
Oh my goodness.
It's not her.
That's crazy.
It's not her.
Wow. Congrats. Congrats. Seriously.
I
mean,
remember that. I'm telling you, I stared at my phone for I don't know how long before I mustered up the courage to text somebody because I was just like, that is not my friend. Like, you did not look like that in high school, and I had seen you throughout the years after graduation and everything, but, and we would talk or whatever, but I just remember seeing that and I was just like devastated. And then you don't want to be nosy, but you, like me, I wanted to make sure everybody was okay.
Yeah.
Like, are the kids good? Like, is your dad okay? Is your mom okay? And Marissa, she took my nosiness like a champ.
Oh, yeah.
She knew it was coming from a good place. But I just remember like, and when it happens in a small town, it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So was it harder getting sober here or rebuilding your reputation?
I will say that I wasn't worried about my reputation.
You just didn't care. It was just like, no, this is
because
what I'm doing.
that's I don't give a crap what you think about me.
Right.
What was important was rebuilding my relationships with my family.
Yeah.
And whenever you've been in addiction for so long and you get sober, your actions have to prove everything. You have done too much of this in addiction that they ain't listening to this. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't worried about my reputation because I knew that I was doing it for real, and my actions would show anybody and everybody
Right.
that this is what it is. And that's one of the reasons that I started, sharing my random day updates on my Facebook because, you see me out here doing great. You see me smiling. You see me having a great time. Don't think that this is easy.
Yeah.
But I tell people all the time in our chats, like, you're wasting your time talking.
Yeah.
They want action.
And I think that's from the family member perspective of it. It's really hard because I truly don't trust anything that's coming out of your mouth. Mm-mm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I feel bad about it, but it's like, I have a reason to feel this way.
Right.
I feel guilty for feeling this way. And I do love you. It's not that I don't love you, but there's been so much happen and so much has gone down.
You have to heal from the trauma that you have.
Yes.
From that situation.
Yes. Well, and two, from a family member perspective, you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Right.
At all times.
Look, perspective is this. Marissa sent me this, I think it was a TikTok, but basically it was like the girl that was making the video, her sister had OD'd. And Marissa was like, this was literally me preparing how to live my life without you.
Mm-hmm. I had gone and, I had made preparations, for fail safes, for whatever may or may not happen. And I remember I got a phone call from the police one day, and it was a friend of mine that was a police officer. And they asked if I knew where they were. and I sat down because I was fully prepared to be told that they found them and that they were no longer with us.
Right.
And I remember just taking a deep breath and waiting to hear that. And then like when that wasn't that and it was something else and they were actively looking for them for something that had happened, it was just like, I'm mortified that they've committed a crime, but at the same time, I'm so relieved that they're not dead.
Right.
Because
and
I
then
thought
once we're
that was
in jail,
yes.
you know we're safe, you know we're eating, we know he's sleeping good.
I felt so bad because like knowing that they were in jail was the most peace that I had felt in I don't know how long. You know, and I like it broke my heart that they were there. But at the same time, I felt I could sleep.
Right.
I knew they were okay. You know, I knew somebody was there. I knew there was no drugs. You know, they weren't going to OD. You know, and it was just like, wow, this is the weirdest feeling. I don't even care that they're in jail because, and it's not that I didn't care. I did care, but I didn't care that they were in jail, like in that sense. Like I wasn't embarrassed. It was just like,
right.
What a relief, you know, because it's very scary because they're not going to listen to you at all. They don't listen to anything you say. And the reason I'm saying they is because that is not my story to tell.
Right.
And
that's something that is very important. I have so much respect for you for doing it that way because I would be livid.
Yeah.
Because nobody else walked in my shoes and lived through everything that I've lived through. You know, if I said, Jessica, I can't come on your thing, but you can say blah, 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 blah. And I'm quoting Valerie. Don't tell my story.
Yeah, it's not
because
my story to tell.
Know.
Yeah, and that, you know, and that person knows that if they ever want to come and have that conversation, we'll have that conversation. But it's not my story to tell. You know, I have my perspective of it, but their identity is their identity. And if they ever get, because I'm sure a year after your journey or into your journey, you probably wouldn't have done this. A year in, it probably took you a while to get.
No, probably not a year in.
Yeah, it probably takes you a while to.
I would
soak
say
it all in.
after I celebrated my 2 year is when I really started getting vocal.
I remember
online.
that post.
And so, but again, I came home with the desire to help other people because addiction doesn't run in my family.
Right.
That is not something like I think my dad said there was an alcoholic like several generations back. So, people are like, oh, addiction's genetics, Not technically.
So so do you think that's a good question. Do you think that it is a disease, a choice, or both? Because I see it both ways.
I can see it both ways now.
Yeah.
Then this is the deal. It was a choice for me because I knew I had already been diagnosed with these mental health problems. Mm-hmm. And instead of dealing with that, I numbed it.
Yeah.
So, but after a certain point, it's not a choice. It's a necessity because you're so far off of the deep end in it.
That's kind of, I don't like calling it a disease because a disease is something that, it's lupus. Cancer is a disease. But I do understand the nature of when you are fully, and I know people that if you have never loved somebody that is an addict or been an addict yourself, you will never understand what I'm saying. When the initial addiction is a choice, like you chose to do the drugs, et cetera, et cetera. But at some point it becomes a normal everyday function of your life. Just like when you get up and have your cup of coffee, that is a normal, and it is no longer a choice for them. There's no functioning without that.
Sorry, I should have gotten the tissue box out.
It's okay. I didn't know I was going to, well, and admittedly, both of us have experienced what I'm talking about, so it is, even though now, we're in a season of our life where it's not a thing, active addiction isn't, we do understand that relapse happens, just like sobriety happens. So that's something that you also have to work through and live through, and processing all of it is hard.
Yeah, and I was going to bring up the same point. It was like, yeah, I don't think you should see it as, like you said, the initial addiction is a choice, yes, but that's also a choice that you could make. Like we don't have enough education around why I don't think we're honest enough about the brain chemistry side. I mean, it kind of blew my mind when I learned this stuff when I just did research, because I didn't really know. I mean, I knew that it was kind of these harder drugs. It's like you do it once, but I didn't know why.
I think you don't want to feel anything.
Yeah, but
I think that has a lot to do with it. I think it's that there's something going on. You're hurting somewhere, and you don't want to think about what you're thinking about.
No, but I'm talking about the brain chemistry aspect of it, where it's like there's a reason that it hooks you first time, and it's not.
Oh,
because
it's not something you can control.
You might not, like I did it one time and I'm done. You do it one time and you might be able to just do it one time and be done with it.
Yeah.
There is something different about.
Although with the harder drugs, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about alcohol in a way. Luckily, I don't have an addictive personality with alcohol. I will get to where I will have a bit of a dependence on it, but it's always easy for me to
It's just Taco Bell for you?
It's Taco Bell, it's food, yeah. But I mean, nicotine, I think, is a good example, because a lot of people have a nicotine addiction and they understand what it's like to come off. It's not something that you control. You don't, if you look at an addict and you think that it's something that, they just should have more willpower, or
it's not a willpower.
It's not even in that domain.
No.
I think it's crazy that some people don't view this as like.
I think it's easy for them because they've never experienced it.
Yeah.
It's easy for them to live in a bubble and just be oblivious, because why?
Well, from my perspective, which admittedly, I don't know that I ever looked at you, even when we would catch up with each other or whatever, and knew that any of this was going on. I don't think I knew you, or like we were close when you were in the throes of other stuff. Mm-mm. But as far, I would have never known you were doing opioids. Right. I would have never known that. But if you have never looked into the eyeballs of somebody that you love with your whole heart, and they're completely void and vacant, and they're not there.
Oh no,
they're not there. I mean, they're looking at you and they're saying some heinous things to you, and they're saying things that cut you to the bone, but that is not them. It is not them. Mm-hmm. They're like, even if they're not saying anything ugly to you, that is not your person. That's not the person that you know. It's not the person that you love. Because I remember there was an instance, and it got said that I was trying to kill this person and they wanted a restraining order. That was not true, and I'm looking at them, and
allegedly.
They're
allegedly.
Yeah. And luckily the officer that was on scene that knew me, but they were not there at all. I mean, they were in there somewhere, but at that time, and I don't know, maybe you do know this, but their eyes are just, it's something has taken over them that is other, it's not of this world.
That's why I don't share my before.
I'm sorry, Paisley.
My before and now pictures, because I'm bragging or anything like that. It's because I was a dead person standing there.
You were dead on the inside.
Yes.
And I think that's what it's like the ghost of you is there, but you're just you're a vessel for drugs. Mm-hmm. That's, and I hate to even say it that way, and I don't mean it ugly to anybody. And if you happen to be trying to get sober or whatever the case may be, I think it's important for you to know how your family feels. If you're listening to this right now and you're thinking that you need to get sober, I'm telling you, it is taking the life out of your family.
Yes.
That we're doing all we can do, and if you've never been there's those 15 ply paper towels. If you've never been, you never know what the next phone call is. You never know what the next knock on the door is. And then, I remember one time seeing him on my ring footage, and my heart sunk, because I was just like, what's going on? Right. What's happening? I don't know, and it's constant. It is a constant, just up and down, up and down, up and down. And you get to be high for it.
Right.
Right. We are dealing with your addiction.
We think we're doing this.
Stone cold sober. Yeah. And it's not funny. It's not. But it's like you get to numb what you're going through while putting us through the ringer, and we're stone cold sober.
Yeah.
You know, and it will do some things to you when because it's just like, you know, there are days where it's like, oh my God, no wonder they're doing drugs. You know, like they're just trying to be numb, and I want to, like, bring me some drugs. I want to be numb with you because you are killing me.
Right.
You know, and that's really hard. And I know, you know, because your family is close knit and very loving, and I know that it had to be terrible for them.
Absolutely.
I know that it had to be terrible. You know, and your dad, if for anybody that doesn't know, Sandy was a mental health professional. And I mean,
Wait, he was,
yeah. And that's the thing, is whatever was hurting Valerie, she could have just went to him.
Oh yeah, but see, here's the thing. He already knew.
He already knew. Yeah.
But because I chose
Yeah.
this route.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I can say about my dad. You know, he has always been supportive to the extent he needed to be.
He wasn't an enabler.
Exactly.
So was anybody in your family an enabler type, or did they all just kind of follow Sandy's lead?
No, I mean, each person had their own relationship with me, but I borrowed money and never paid it back, but I didn't make a regular habit of using them.
Right.
It was more just the hurt of
Knowing,
not showing up, not being there, you know,
Right.
not doing right by my kid, like that sort of thing. Because I didn't.
because your dad is not an enabler.
No, and my mother certainly is not.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know Sandy, he is, I mean, like, steady as an arrow. I mean, he's not going to waver from that. He's not going to ta-ta you,
Oh,
you know,
no.
like I'm sure there's probably been a lot of tough love situations with him.
Well, yeah, but I'm also not a tatar.
Yeah.
So I'm very much like my dad. So
Yeah.
I already knew
Yeah.
there was no point.
I ain't going to try to go butter him up.
You know, but thankfully I just emotionally hurt them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't take it. And of course they might feel different. I don't know how I made them feel. I can only
Right.
speak from my perspective. But I didn't use them like most addict situations.
Yeah.
So, I didn't have that to, you know, it was just more of a trust and emotional and, you know, rebuilding, that sort of thing. I didn't have outrageous actions that I had to be.
Yeah.
Because I really tried to keep my actions away from them.
What is it? Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Yeah, it's you know, and I've heard horror stories. You know, I mean, there's been a lot of overdoses here in Vernon Parish. I've heard horror stories of friends of mine, you know, that are literally, they know, like, their kid is in the house with them, and they know that their kid is using drugs, and they just have to let them do it because they don't know what else to do. You know, like, what else am I supposed to do? This is what they do. You know, and it is devastating. It is devastating to the point where, I mean, I know that it used to just be like, you know, alcoholism is talked about a lot. But imagine, you know, most of us, if you're not an alcoholic or not, you know, a stick in the mud or whatever, I mean, most of us would be like, you know, man, I had a really bad day. I'm going to get a margarita, you know, and I can do that twice, 3 times a month. I have no issue, no, you know, none of that. But there are people that do it every day to numb whatever they're taking the edge off, whatever that is. And then you multiply that by like 1 million, because methamphetamine is the worst. And it's just like, basically for you had already took all the other drugs.
Yeah.
So why not this one?
What was most easily accessible.
So was it the most accessible or the least expensive? She's like, wait a minute. I'm always curious about that.
This is I can't really talk about the money side of it because there's levels to this. You know what I'm saying? It's so easily accessible.
Easily accessible.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, and I guess that's the scary part too, is that, you know, it is so easily accessible, you know, because like, I remember, you know, my person, fresh out of rehab and don't get it twisted. There was, you know, people have relapses. People, you know, there's things are going to happen, and that's okay. As long as they're actively trying to get better, you know, that's what matters. But I remember being in the vehicle with them, and their phone rang, and they had them on speakerphone, and this person that had called them just flat out asked for drugs. And they had to be like, hey, I don't do that anymore, blah, blah, blah. And it was such a weird experience for me because obviously I wanted to crash out.
Right.
But I can't do that because
Right.
those people have no idea what this person is on this journey doing, you know, and that's their life. That's what they know. That's what they do.
I literally changed my phone number.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this one, okay.
Oh, but hold on. I won't even let my phone number be printed in the church directory because you never know where those things will end up.
That's correct. So
And that's even to this day.
this is what else I learned. Okay. And I always found this, I get a chuckle out of it. For people that think constantly that somebody's watching them or hacking their phone, or, you know, they use Facebook Messenger for everything.
Right.
And that was where the phone call came from.
Right.
The number had been changed, but the phone call came from Messenger.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, they can see everything you're saying.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Look, I never use Facebook Messenger at all. Like, I mean, I do to talk to people normally, but when I'm,
yeah, like you
No.
you knew what I'm, you know, like it's, I mean, and it was so weird to me because it's like, okay, so you think the government's watching you, you think there's drones, you know, and I'm going through all of this, and
The person we have been talking about once told me that, you know, those little fake owls they have on top of Bird Hospital?
just to keep the birds away.
So this person, we were in the hospital for some reason, unrelated. He wasn't the one in the hospital, but he was there with us. He told me that the birds, the fake owls on top of the bird hospital were cameras and the government was watching us. That was something he told us.
the most outrageous one I ever heard was the house flies were actual cameras. That's how the government spies on people.
Wait, so what did he think about the actual cameras? Like the
He didn't
security
care about
system
the
at Bird?
actual cameras.
Like, why would you need a hidden owl, when you have actual security
I think
cameras?
his
Like,
mindset was he thought that the cameras were just for security, and the owl was put there by like the U.S.
oh
government.
my God.
It's really hard to try to understand them.
And then
I
he
will
would-
say that.
He would talk about the Black Hawks that would fly around because we live by Fort Polk. There's going to be helicopters flying around. It's a military base, and he thought at night the little lights on the bottom of the helicopters. He was like, "They're drones. They're drones, man. Government's watching us."
See, look, I can't even say anything about the drone situation because when we got busted at the apartments down there, they really had the drones out.
They actually had drones this time.
That's like, are those real? Are they real?
Look, they were real.
Okay, so I want to ask a question about that day. And I don't want to keep you here all night, but that day when that happened, had they been surveilling you for a long time? Or did they just like happenstance? Like what?
no.
What happened?
Well, this is what happens when you get multiple drug people together. They had,
Valerie's allowed to laugh at herself.
they supposedly had been watching me since 2018.
2018?
Dang.
Wow. Were they just like
Now, I'm not speaking for the sheriff's department.
Yeah,
but
dude, don't feel free to not talk about anything.
Yeah, no, I just feel like because the way I ran my business was business, and they could not catch it at the right time.
Okay, so when it happened, like when it actually happened, what do you remember? What you were thinking? Like, did they raid your house?
Well, it wasn't my house. We had two apartments. We had the studio, and then we had the apartment that I lived in with the kids across. We separated the kids were never in the same house with the stuff.
Okay.
I had actually just walked in the studio. I had made breakfast and I had walked over there to take it over there and put it in the kitchen. And we were about to do a hot rail and somebody knocked on the door. Doop, doop, doop. And my ex at the time, he walks over and he just opens the door, didn't look, and
That
this
was God.
I already know, but they came under the pretense of looking for the other individual in the house. But yeah, no, I can tell you moment by moment that day.
And so, did you panic or
No,
no?
because if you panic, what good is that going to do?
Yeah.
And meth chilled you out.
Were you relieved at all
Maybe not in that exact moment.
in that exact moment?
No, I mean, I was high.
Yeah. Did you know that your dad was not going to come get you?
Oh, I've been knowing that. That wasn't brand new information.
You would have Sandy's a no limit soldier.
Look, my dad literally, as far back as I can remember, if you go to jail, you're staying there.
I'm not coming to get you. Period.
The one and only time that my parents bailed me out was right before I had custody court for my kids. And because I had been arrested at Walmart for shoplifting and I didn't actually shoplift. The lady snatched my glasses off my head, and in the evidence photo, it's my glasses and this tag. Me and Marissa scanned the tag, and it was for men's sunglasses, not even matching that. So it all got thrown out. So my dad and mom got me out that time because I had custody come out. But that was the only reason, because they knew I didn't steal, because that was something I didn't do. I didn't steal, especially from Walmart.
Yeah.
Especially some sunglasses. You know what I mean?
I want to make it worth it.
Some $5 sunglasses. And I didn't get my sunglasses back either.
That's rude.
I'm telling you. But I did get banned from Walmart. I'm like, how do you throw out these charges?
Forever?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was only for a year or something. I
was like, what do you do now? Where do you go?
Girl, I went in there whenever I was banned.
Oh, well, their bans don't work.
I really don't I think they ban you and then they just it's just to scare you.
I think it's probably to have it on record so that if you
do get caught,
Yeah.
they're like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. You're banned from the store.
I'm just like, I didn't do anything. Those charges were dismissed.
Well, at least they were dismissed.
I think they're doing facial recognition though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they are.
In those-
Most definitely.
Yeah, recently, they've started doing that in a lot of stores.
My favorite thing to say, though, is I don't live like that no more.
Yeah. I don't live like that no more.
I think back to what you were asking me about earlier, the top thing with teenagers nowadays is I think it's alcohol. A lot of it's alcohol because the
Nothing
people
new there.
Nothing new.
right,
there.
nothing new. And a lot of times, peer pressure has never worked on me. If you try to peer pressure me, no is my favorite word.
Nobody ever offered me drugs. I don't nobody.
Listen, I mean this in the most loving way. You would probably be one of those ones that would get burnt immediately.
No, I don't think you would get burnt.
I never got offered drugs ever.
You were always high strung anyway.
I can't believe it. It seems like you'd be so chill if you did some drugs.
No, I think that y'all probably knew I was.
We're not condoning drug use.
You were a snitch.
I would have been like, no,
I give that money,
absolutely
she
not.
would have snitched
That's
on all y'all.
sarcasm. It would be
Yeah.
like giving meth to a squirrel.
Yeah, it was. I don't think I would have snitched, but I definitely would have been like,
No,
I got to get out of here.
No, you would have definitely secretly told an adult, and then when everything went down, you would have acted like you didn't know what happened.
I remember when we moved to Lake Charles for a year one time, and I didn't even know where I was at, but I'd made a friend or whatever, and we're in the vehicle. I don't even remember. It's so vague. My memory is on this. Somehow we were in the vehicle with maybe one of her cousins, brothers, I don't know, and a friend. Anyway, somebody lit up a joint. Okay. And I remember going what does that smell? 'Cause I thought it was a cigar.
It was a cigar wrap.
It was. It was.
Close enough.
And I was just and I was young too. I was 14, and I'd never been around that before. And I was like, what does that smell? And then they got to talking and I realized I'm in the vehicle with marijuana. And I panicked. And I was like, oh my God, I have to get out of this vehicle. And I was like, I need y'all to drop me off at this McDonald's. And I made them leave me at this McDonald's. And I called my dad, and I had to put somebody on the phone.
I ate 7 Big Macs, and for some reason I felt okay. I don't know.
I'm telling you that contact high will get you.
I called my dad, and he was like, "Where are you at?" And I was like, "I'm at the McDonald's," and I explained to him what was going on, and I was like, "I don't know what McDonald's I'm at, 'cause there's more than one Lake Charles."
Right.
And I had to put the lady on the phone, and I was like, "Could you please tell my dad where we're at?" Came and picked me up from the McDonald's. But I just like, that's probably, I wouldn't have judged y'all, but I would have been like, I got to go find an adult. If anybody, I would have been like, oh my God, you're doing what?
She's like, no, I need new friends.
Yeah.
Where's my dad?
Yeah. I would have probably panicked back then. Back then I truly would have. And honestly, when you telling me this, never had an indication. But I mean, you're saying what did you say? A hot roll? Is that what you just said?
Hot rail.
Oh,
Hot roll. Get the cinnamon butter. Get the cinnamon butter with
Big
that
Mac
hot roll.
syndrome. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what she's referring to.
We'll tell you later, Mom. Don't look it up.
And the gas station, those little paraphernalia items actually taught me more than I ever knew, until much
I'll
later
tell you
in
what
life.
it is off air.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, we don't want to condone any of that.
Do not look it up.
No,
Yeah, don't Google that.
Google this stuff, y'all.
Yeah, don't do that.
Remember? Wait, never mind. I'll tell you the joke later. I can't say that on air.
Especially don't Google it in front of the bird hospital owls. Yeah. They'll definitely get you.
And make sure there's no Black Hawks doing the night ops.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will tell you though, the flock cameras, there's flock cameras at Lowe's. I don't know if
Yeah.
they've installed more. Those are crazy because, number one, they are spying on you, but they're also easy to hack.
Yeah.
Like they're notoriously easy to hack. I think they've since patched it, but it was bad there for a little bit. Anyway, definitely don't shoot those out.
Yeah, don't do that.
One
Don't
of
get
my,
your BB gun.
And if you see a house fly, just get a fly swatter.
Right.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is I don't remember how it got brought up. We were at a track meet. I told Mom about this. And I was like, we were talking about alcohol. I wasn't the one that brought it up. And we're talking about it. And maybe I didn't tell Mom about this. This is a different thing. I'm not talking about my friend and that. So it got brought up and we're talking about it. And they're like, Paisley, you've never had alcohol? And I was like, no, I have a life. And they go on and on about it. And they're like, why haven't you had alcohol? Blah, blah, blah. You're so boring. It's like, peer pressure has never worked on me. I think y'all just look stupid trying to peer pressure people. I think it's funny when people try to peer pressure me because no is one of my favorite words.
Well, also, don't you feel like your generation too is much more cognizant of this sort of thing? And it's like, come on,
That
dude.
and I feel like a lot of us, not me. A lot of my generation it's so normal to them to just go out, party, drink, get high, and I don't like that.
Well, unfortunately, it's because people like me who raise their kids in that's
Yeah.
what they know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I don't judge people like my age who do drink because you do what you want. I'm more scared of my mom than I am of getting a DUI. So
and that's the thing, with any kid of an addict, they have two routes. Either you can be a victim and woe is me and everything like this, or you can do the complete opposite. And both of my children are extremely smart, extremely successful. So I told him, I'm like, I gave y'all the playbook of what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
What you do with it is on you. But, a lot of these kids don't have parents that actually give a shit.
Yeah. And that's a common thing too. So if you had one piece of advice to give to somebody who just found out that one of their loved ones or children were doing drugs, what would you tell them?
Just be supportive. Be there. Love them.
No, but not enable them.
No. Loving them and enabling them are opposite ends of the spectrum.
I'll never forget when it comes to my person, that was affected. I remember Galen, I was sitting there and he told me, he said, you are going to love them to death. And it hit me straight in the gut. He meant it exactly like he said it. but it would always be, hey, can I get $20?
Right.
Hey, can I get $20? I'm hungry, et cetera, et cetera.
Do you need the 15 ply paper towels?
No, I'm good. And I would just yeah, you can have the $10, $20, whatever it was. And I just turned a blind eye to it. Yeah. And it was, and I'd go get them, help them any way I could. And there was a time where I had to, that's it.
Well, here's the thing. Whenever it's like that and they're saying, I need food, I need this. Well, if I called my dad and asked for money and said it was for a specific reason, he's like, well, I can meet you at the gas station and put gas in your car, but I ain't giving you no money.
Right. You're not getting gas money.
If you're hungry, you can come over here to the house and eat.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you any money.
Yeah. And as someone, if you have a loved one and you think that's what's going on or whatever, the worst thing you can do is give them money.
Right.
They don't need money. They do need help. Don't turn your back on them completely. You got to love them from a distance, though.
That's the deal. And understand that nothing you're going to do is
Or
going to
say,
make
yeah.
them get sober.
So
Short of maybe helping them get into a
Right.
program or
But
something.
even
but
at
even
that,
then, they got to want to.
they have to want it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
still have to.
That person and another person, mom knows who I'm talking about, are both the reasons. I don't think I will ever, I might dabble when I get older, but I don't think I would ever be heavily into any paraphernalia or anything like that because of those two people.
Yeah, please don't dabble at all.
Don't
Yeah,
dabble
don't
at all.
Dabble when I'm 30.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, are you referring to maybe alcohol?
Not
Oh, okay.
paraphernalia.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Not narcotics, no. Alcohol when I'm 30.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I think anything that you do could become addictive. We
Yeah.
discussed that at the very beginning of this episode. Food is one of the biggest things that can be addictive. And I think that,
I struggle with that. And heck, I'm 16.
yeah, it's, I think everything you have to do in moderation. You can't do things except for methamphetamine. You can't do that at all. But I mean, everything is in moderation. Otherwise, I mean, it opens the doorway, to other things. That's just, it is what it is.
Well, and back in the Gap, they didn't track narcotics. You could doctor shop. You could go to this one
Yeah.
today and that one tomorrow, and they're
tracking Sudafed now, baby.
bro, they are tracking everything.
They're locking up Sudafed. I just want to fix my stuffed nose.
I just want to breathe through my nostrils. and honest to God, I remember the first time I got ID'd for that, I was like, what am I getting ID'd for sinus medicine? And then months later, I find out that it's something going on with whatever's being done with it. And I'm just like, oh my God. What is happening? I can't even buy Sudafed anymore.
I know. I bought Dollar General out of Sudafed the other day, and they were looking at me like I'm doing something. I'm like, no.
Okay, well, apparently you're buying everything out of
Sudafed-
Oh, so
everything.
it was
on
the
the
Sudafed
shelf.
and the alcohol? Okay, now we know why they were looking at you.
But the Sudafed on the shelf isn't good anyway.
No.
It's the stuff behind the
No,
counter.
and
it's the good
y'all should have
stuff.
seen too when I went to Lowe's, because this
He
is when
went
I
to
was
Lowe's the same day.
no.
Are you buying Lowe's out too?
He's getting that gun
No.
blue in.
No, I was cleaning out these two rooms where I put the resin printer, and then also the biohazardous 30 years of just
Yeah.
gunk and stuff in this shop. And I was buying full, gauntlet gloves and Rubbermaid scrubber. And it looked like I was going to dispose of a body. And I was
Allegedly.
like,
Yeah, allegedly he's cleaning out a room, guys.
I got some weird looks. I'm going to say it was
Deputies
a cart
texting everywhere.
full.
This guy's got a cart full of isopropyl alcohol.
I'm like,
and now he's at
Rubbermaid-
Lowe's.
And now he's getting Rubbermaid kitchen gloves.
I felt like Walter White. I was like, oh my God. I have a hazmat suit in my car.
What are you
I'm like,
doing, sir? You should have just thrown a roll of duct tape in just for good measure.
Just for funsies.
It's like, oh, you guys want something to
Oh,
look
plastic
at?
wrap.
and some bleach.
Yeah, some bleach. Yeah,
I think there was all of that in there.
yeah. That's
Right.
It
what
didn't look good.
Now
Yeah.
we know,
like, I
why are you
promise.
shocked you were getting dirty looks? I would not have been shocked.
I wasn't shocked. I was just,
It's like I swear I'm above board.
I'm making products. I'm 3D printing, okay?
I will send you a 3D printed
Not
product.
those products. No. Not product. I'm not making product. I'm making products.
Hey, somebody send
Craft is typing right now.
somebody send LPD over here.
I'm making lampshades. Like that.
Burwell's outside.
That's my proof. So if I have to point to it, I did make that. You remember the prototype of this?
Yes.
That's the more final. It's not final, but it's
I love it.
Closer.
He
Yeah.
3D prints everything. He didn't want to go to the store one day, so he 3D printed a trash can.
Bro, what?
How long did that
And
take?
chopsticks.
Chopsticks, yeah. He put 3D printed chopsticks one time because he didn't want to go get a fork.
The trash cans, I think these white trash cans over here, I think they're like a two something hour print
Oh, that ain't bad.
with
Yeah.
nozzles.
It could literally
Yeah.
take you
How
like
long did the
10
chopsticks
minutes.
take?
Chopsticks were like 15 minutes. Yeah.
You could have walked over and got a fork, though.
He's like,
yeah,
nah.
but like I can wait 15 more
He
minutes.
wants to
you
be
know?
whimsical. What if he wanted a hot pink pair of chopsticks?
Look, that's where all my creative. I'm way too lazy to become a meth distributor / producer. It's more
Too much work.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He's
Can
like,
you
yeah.
imagine? No, I can't.
I'm with Greg on that. I don't got enough energy to be doing all
Yeah.
that.
All of
I
my
don't know how.
Could you be
She's like, oh no,
Like-
that's the meth covers that.
like 99% of the product ideas I have and stuff, and like products that I want to make or bring to market, are like just come from laziness. I mean,
He's like, I'm just lazy.
The thing
it's like
about
the
like
smart curtain blind. The
my
curtain rod
math
thing I'm
teacher's a
working on.
lot
It's
like Greg. He would he's lazy, but the things he does because he's lazy are 10 times harder
Yeah,
than
it's-
just actually getting
it's
up and doing
it's
it.
a software engineer thing too. It's like why would I do this manual task when I can spend 10 times the amount of time automating it, and then I'll
That
never
is
have to
the
do it in the
current
future.
smarter, not harder.
Yes, that is exactly what it is. Yeah. Oh, now every time, like used to, people would ask me questions and I would have to like figure it out, like tech questions. I'm like, oh, here's Greg's number. Like, don't ask me. I'm too old for this now. I'm referring you to the younger generation. I want out of this.
Don't ever refer somebody to me because
I might.
Yeah, once my PlayStation, there was something on it. I was watching Netflix and I think I accidentally pressed R3 and like a bunch of information came up on like the left corner of my screen. I didn't know how to get it away. I didn't know I had pressed R3. I accidentally pressed it.
Call
And
Greg.
I was like so confused, and then
Please
mom,
just ask AI about that one. I don't wanna
and then mom would come in there
figure out
because
your
I'm
button
freaking
layout
out.
on your controller.
I'm freaking out. I didn't know what I did to my controller. I didn't know what I did to my TV. I'm freaking out. I think I broke my PS5. It's brand new. Mom comes in there, just turn it off and turn it back on.
That's literally
A
the
hard
first
reset.
step of everything.
Hard reset.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Did
Just
it work?
turn it off and turn it back on.
Well, I'm sure it did work for that.
It did.
It
Yeah.
did, yeah.
And then once, I think it was the first time
Good job, Mom.
once the first time I ever played Red Dead Redemption. It's that like whenever you're trying to go find John Marston and he's in like the snowy
I haven't
mountains.
played it yet. It's next. Dude, I got into Avatar Frontiers of Pandora.
Oh, you're playing
Underrated
Avatar,
game.
but not Red Dead.
Well, I know.
We're out of this conversation.
Anyway,
But it was like
we'll talk video games.
okay, if anybody has played it, it's like the whenever
Video
you're
games is also an addiction.
Yes, it is.
It
It is.
absolutely can.
It is.
Yep.
but is the first whenever you're in chapter 1 Coulter and you're trying to go look for John Marston and he's lost in the mountains.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler ahead.
No, I'm
You're-
saying don't spoil it for me.
So you have to crouch and to press and like to crouch in that game, you have to press R3.
yeah.
And I was like 8. I didn't know what R3 was. So I'm talking to my brother, like I'm like, Austin, can you teach me what R3 is? And he's like, no, it's too many buttons. You got to press. It's too difficult. It's whatever. Just stop playing the game. So, I kind of get mad, but I give him his PlayStation controller back. He plays UFC. Next day, I'm mad and I want to get past this part where I have to crouch. And I start pad pressing. And if you don't know what pad pressing is, it's just, you just start pressing every button ever. And I accidentally pressed R3, which is basically you just push down the right joystick. And I think I screamed at my brother for like 10 minutes because he lied to me and told me it was like 800 controls and it was just one.
It's fascinating, Paisley.
Yeah.
Growing up with siblings is not for the weak, especially if you're the youngest.
That's
So a lot of-
Valerie was like, I
a lot of
have
trials,
4
and,
siblings.
a lot of trials and tribulations, huh?
I grew up with like all my cousins too, and they were all boys.
Yeah, because Carrie's so much older than her. She was the only girl. And
I'll give you that.
yeah, it's
It's the worst.
yeah, because it was all girls really for y'all because it was just one boy and then all girls.
Well,
Always-
it's a girl, boy, all girl.
Yeah, I felt bad for Sandy. I always felt bad for Sandy.
Why? Because
Sandy's a
him
great
and
girl
his
mom.
his people, my granny had him and 4 girls.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Sandy's a great girl mom because I'm not related.
Girl mom or girl dad?
Girl dad. Girl dad. I did not mean to call you a mom, Sandy. He's a great girl dad. And I'm not even like blood related to Sandy whatsoever. And every year for the past 2 years on my birthday, he sends me a $40 Amazon gift card.
He does. Happy birthday, Paisley. He's so good to her. He's so good to her.
That's like my adopted grandpa. I love him.
She
Loves you.
we drive by at the house and she yells out, even if nobody's there, "I love you, Sandy."
And now that I have a truck, I would honk. My horn doesn't work.
It works sometimes. We haven't got that figured out. It works sometimes.
I would.
Guess what I'm going to get Paisley for her birthday?
Clock spring.
No, a train horn for
Yes.
her truck.
I'm using
You
it.
better learn how to hook up the air supply to that.
Oh,
He'll
Yeah,
3D
it
print
takes,
it.
yeah, it takes air supply.
no. Are you serious? You
I-
think I can't hook up an air supply? Come on.
Oh, I thought.
Come on now.
I thought you meant, are you serious? It needs one. I was like, no, it really does need one.
The mom, Greg knows these things.
Greg knows stuff. Okay, so back to what we were talking about.
Sorry.
We got. It's okay. We got off track. Is there anything else like you want to add? If you want to plug your
www.sobrietydidthat.com
Yeah, we'll put it up.
sobrietydidthat.com.
We'll put it up on screen here
and all the socials. It's all one word, like Sobriety Did That's all together. That's the name for all the socials: Facebook, TikTok.
I'll make a QR code and put it up as well.
Yeah.
The only other thing I think I would want to say is never get too comfortable in your sobriety. People are like, why do you still count days? And I'm like, because today is 1,518 days I've been sober. Why do you still count days? Well, this amount of days is nothing compared to 23 years in addiction.
Yeah.
So I am very well aware it could change in a second.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm gonna stay uncomfortable because when I get comfortable, that's when stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you go and you just like take advantage of the fact that it's just like, you could slip up because in your opinion, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, or in my opinion, I'm sorry, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. Even if it's not drugs, let's just say, oh, well, I'll just have a margarita. That could throw you
Oh yeah.
backwards.
This is the thing. Like narcotics was always my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I drank socially when I was younger, but that was never my thing. But I'm not going to just go out and be all drinking.
Right. Because
Not
that
gonna-
could very well open the door.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's no two people's recovery is the same. And there's not a guidebook. I can tell you what's going on in my sobriety. And, that's why I put it all out there because no two recoveries are parallel. Like no two people are going to have the same thing, might have similar, but it's just because no two brains are the same.
Correct.
I could go drink and not have an issue with it. Am I going to test that theory?
No. Yeah. It's probably not worth it.
No.
Well, and too, we were talking about this off camera before we started. When your person, loved one, you are probably going to gain weight after
Oh, absolutely.
addiction. And you do not need to take that hard. You don't need to judge yourself for that. It's just stuff.
You can lose weight later.
Yeah.
You
Well,
gotta get
and
off the.
Yeah, the main thing is being healthy
Yeah.
and drug free. And that's the thing is we were talking about a video I was watching, and this girl she'd been like 2 years sober from fentanyl. That's what we were talking about. And somebody it was tons of comments about how she needed to back away from the table and all this other stuff. And I was just like, my God, to me, she looks great. She doesn't look like she's on fentanyl, which she definitely looked like she was on
Right.
in the first picture. And it's like, and all y'all are worried about is her weight. So if I
And
had
she's probably not even like it. Is that a thing that falls to the wayside where we're talking about the reputation thing, and you're like, I wasn't even thinking about that because it's like this is something I have to do. That's secondary on like the chart of priorities.
I mean, I can say that I was uncomfortable because for so long I was skin and bones.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. which
But
is
I
not-
wasn't like focused on that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But again, that's, just for reference, when I went to jail, I was 115 pounds. 11 months later, I was 237 pounds. So,
it happens.
but-
And, jail food, number one, is not good for you.
no.
Yeah, no. It's just to keep you. It's just to keep you alive.
No.
It's not good for you. They're not there to be a luxury hotel. And then too, you're not you're not having the same lifestyle. So if, that's why I always say, don't be ugly to people. You don't know what their walk is.
Be patient with yourself because, I was that heavy. And then the longer I was sober and the more healthier my body got in that reset process, I started losing weight without even actually trying, because your body is so used to starving itself and grabbing a hold of anything because it knows it ain't fixing to get nothing else because of these drugs. Right. So when you start getting sober and you're eating, it's going to store every bit of everything because it's going into crisis mode.
Yeah.
And it's a brain chemistry. It's a dopamine regulation thing. It's like when your brain is starved of dopamine, you want food to increase the dopamine. And then as your brain starts building back those receptors and you can, it says, hey, we got to produce our own dopamine again. Then, and also after you kick drugs like that, having the discipline to go on a weight loss journey must be like much less daunting.
She's like, you know what?
Has
I don't
nothing
even
compared
care.
to.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I really got to a place where I'm comfortable in my skin now.
Right.
Like I said, I'm heavier now than I was last year. I don't care. I have to be happy with myself, and I'm happy with myself. If you don't like how I look, that's a you problem, not a me problem.
Yeah. And you look great. And you look so much better than you did in your mugshot.
Respectfully.
No, I mean, disrespectfully too.
And the thing is I don't like whenever people will sit there and they're like, oh, you need to back away from the table. I need y'all to like fathom what that person has went through.
Yeah.
Like, and you're worried about how big they are.
But that's because people are so easily,
they're so superficial.
They're so ready to talk about this person because they don't want to look at themselves in the mirror.
That's a lack of empathy.
Because why are you projecting? Why are you projecting because she's sober?
Yeah.
And also back to this buckshot. Of course, I have gone through and read every single comment, right? So for my 2 years sober, I went and I screenshot some of the negative ones. Like one dude called me a crusty raisin.
I'm so sorry.
No, because on my 2 years sober, I put my mugshot and I put a den photo, and then I put those pictures of the comments in there, and I'm like, y'all are too easy to judge. I was like, do I still look like a crusty raisin? And I put their name on there. Like I didn't just screenshot what they said. I put their whole name on there.
Right.
You know,
and that's the thing is you don't ever know when it's going to be you or somebody you love. You really don't.
And I will say that most of the community was like coming to my defense and being like, praying for you, love you, whatever.
But there's always going to be
absolutely.
There's always
going to be one hater.
Yeah, there's
right.
It just is what it is because there's something that lacks in them, and that it just is. I mean, there's people that seek that out. Like I'm going to go find these people. I'm going to make these comments, and they're at the end of the day, they're lacking something within themselves and a lot of something to be able to comment that kind of stuff on there. And, if you had asked me 5-10 years ago, if I would have thought that I was going to go through that with somebody that I loved, I would have never believed that.
Is that a positive shame sort of situation though? Remember, that YouTube video we talked about on a few episodes ago with, what's her name? The fitness lady.
I was on that episode.
Oh yeah. Jillian Michaels.
Yeah. Crusty raisin thing is a little bit.
That's rude.
That was okay. It's rude, that was mean, but it was really
But at the same time, is it also like, did you draw some motivation from that?
No.
Okay.
No.
So don't do that.
Yeah, no, don't.
No. I mean,
those people,
this is my thing. Like,
it's not positive.
And it wasn't even about like, go shame him for saying this. Mm-hmm. It was more of, you didn't know the situation I was in at that time.
Right.
Now I'm healthy. Mm-hmm. Are you still going to have the same comment?
I'm always just and
of course, I didn't even expect them to respond. It was just one of my random day updates that regardless of what people say about you, don't focus on that. That's not what your focus needs to be on.
Right.
Yeah. Just, and just come say it to my face.
Right.
I've always disliked
and I will say this, a lot of people have a lot of things to say about me. They don't know me now.
Yeah.
And they sure aren't stepping right here in front of me and saying nothing.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's what you have to embrace and I've always been like that. And then recently, I kind of let some things get to me, and then it was just like, oh my God, this is the internet. It's not that serious. Go touch grass. You know, like
Well, and so many of those people.
That's how I feel about Greg. Like, Greg needs to touch something other than grass.
he's too chill.
Right, you need to go inside, touch an iPad.
I've been doing that for the past week. I kind of took the past week off for the first time in 6 months.
You need some
Played
iPad
Avatar.
time. You're too chill.
Right, your screen time is too low.
It was not this week. I'll tell you what. It was a restorative week. But I forgot what I was going to say now.
We're talking about people saying it to your face versus saying it on Facebook, or, you know, seeking you out to be.
Yeah, I was going to say in the people who are criticizing or who can't have empathy, a lot of times it's because they've never been through anything
That's correct.
hard in their life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they don't have that mental fortitude.
Right.
So you've come out the other side like a much tougher person mentally
Yeah.
and physically than they ever will be.
Well, and I like I said, I've always been the strong one, like no matter what the situation is. But now I have been broken down so much and actually took the time to rebuild without shifting focus to
Right.
others. So I've been pouring back into myself that I should have been doing all along. There's not nothing that's going to hurt my feelings.
Right.
Because for what?
Yeah.
That energy that I would have with my feelings being hurt, I can put into something else.
Yeah.
I'm sure that journey has a whole lot of positive ripple effects that just.
Oh yeah.
One of
Yeah.
the things Mom taught me about, like, because I'm not skinny. We all know that. I get made fun of it a lot for school, and I would tell Mom about it. And Mom would always say, their opinions don't pay your bills.
Exactly.
She still says that. And she also, if I'm in a hater mood, which I attempt to not be in anymore, she always tells me, if the thing you're judging a person for, they cannot change in the next 5 minutes, stop talking about it.
Yeah. And that's just a rule to live by. You know, if somebody's demeanor and they're a jerk, you know, that's, you know, yeah, if you're being a jerk, I'm going to judge you for that. But if you're talking about somebody's bump on their nose or their crooked eye or, you know, whatever the case may be, they can't do anything about that. You know, there's nothing they can do about it. So I don't know why anybody would judge. I just don't understand it. It's so rude.
And it's so pointless.
rude.
Like,
Yeah.
you're just, say you have no hobbies. Say you literally don't have a life. Like, at least just say that.
Well, I'd say it to my face.
That too.
But they're not going to.
That's the thing, is it's like, and I've been in that particular situation. It's like you have all this stuff to say online and we're standing in a room and you're 20 feet from me.
Right. They ain't gonna say
And you pretend I'm not
nothing.
standing here. Where is that energy?
Right.
Where is that same energy? And then you'll go home. You know,
Keyboard
it's just like,
warrior.
what is wrong with you? I was standing right there.
Yeah.
You could have said it to me.
I can see how buff your thumbs are from 20 miles away. Like, get off your phone.
I will say some there are some next level trolls out there
Yeah.
where they're not even directly making fun of you, or I don't know. I'm in some like Facebook groups for like tech things like Home Assistant, like the Raspberry Pi thing that runs the automation stuff here. There's a Facebook group, of course, and like some of these trolls have some very sophisticated like.
Yeah.
And I've fallen for it a
internet's
couple
a great
times, and I'm like,
place.
"Oh, you're trolling!" Like I
Yeah.
just spent all this time responding to this comment, and you're.
And
like-
it was a sarcastic.
but it's also they're trolling on like a deep technical level
Yes.
where
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
you have to really be an engineer.
This
like,
is why. Listen, I don't answer anymore. I don't. If I see a comment I don't like, I don't type on it because it's just like, I don't know if they're rage baiting me or not, and I lack the intellect to discern the difference.
Well, this goes back to what my daddy and my mother have always said. You cannot tell how somebody is meaning something through words on a screen.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because Galen will text me and I'm just like, so you hate me? And he's like, how did you gather that?
The amount of times, because
You can't translate it.
words
so
have no emotion when they're in black and white on
they,
paper.
they don't.
I
They-
get in trouble a lot, and like I will text Mom, and she'll text back, and she'll be really dry, and I'm like, "Am I in trouble? Am I in
It's
trouble?"
like, no, dude, I'm busy.
now
Look,
I do love seeing the low level trolls on Facebook or whatever
Yeah.
that the boomers, which there's a lot of that around here. Where it's
my
like they
favorite
can't
thing.
tell. It's the most obvious troll or rage bait or whatever, and they can't tell. and it's just like,
I was in the car with Galen once, we were in line for school, and we were sitting there, and he's scrolling on YouTube because we used to like listen to like music videos before they would come out, like before they would come out and tell us to go inside, and there's a video that popped up, and it was Baron Trump playing the guitar, like an acoustic guitar. It's AI, of course. This is whenever AI was like a new thing, and he's watching it, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, Baron Trump, A, does not have a YouTube channel. B, I doubt he knows how to play the guitar. And C, what? So I tell him, I'm like, this is AI. He's like, no, it's not. And we go on like a 5-minute banter on if it's AI or not. And he's like, how do you know it's AI? And I'm like, his fingers are merging into the guitar strings.
well, dude, it's so scary though, because in, Theo Vaughn and them have been talking about this on the podcast. It's like, everyone's like, well, you don't see as much AI stuff anymore. And it's like,
You do.
why do you think?
Yeah.
It's like, because it's gotten better.
Because it's
Now
gotten
we don't
better.
know. And it's like, now you have to just be so.
But Galen's
Yeah.
like the easiest person to rage bait.
But then also there are
He
the
is.
people who just think everything is AI. It's like, all right, come on. Like,
That's me. I'm like, is that AI? Is that AI?
No, sometimes we'll be sitting there, she'll be watching TikTok. She's like, is this AI? I'm like, no.
Yeah, I
if
think
it's a
everything's
continuous,
AI.
if it's a continuous shot longer than like 120 seconds, that's a good giveaway.
Yeah, I always think I'm so skeptical of everything.
I mean,
it's gonna
have you
get worse.
ever
It's
noticed
gonna
that
get-
I don't like post videos of myself like talking? If it's an actual video, it's like outside sky, whatever. It's only pictures because I ain't dealing with all that mess. Because now when you hit the record, the first thing that pops up is AI, and I'm like,
No, thanks, no thanks.
We're about to be in a real weird
Yeah.
world,
it's definitely gonna be
especially
weird.
once we finally make contact with the aliens that are now confirmed.
yeah.
I remember
Can't
we
Maybe
were
they
at
know
the
stuff.
Huh?
Maybe they know stuff.
I'm hoping so.
we were at the
'Cause we don't know
Memorial
anything.
Day thing. I don't know. It's at the Memorial Day thing on entrance at the
The veteran cemetery.
So we're there. And I'm sitting next to Philip Hunt, and all the little branches of the army have a hymn, or something like that, and everybody's singing them. I don't know these hymns. And then the Space Force comes on, and I'll leave it over to Mr. Phillip, and I'm like, what does the Space Force do? If you're in the Space Force, no hate. Like, I don't, y'all are in the military. So I asked him, I'm like, what does the Space Force do? And
A couple of years ago.
My dad will not quit getting me to. He wants me to join Space Force so badly. He wants me to join Space Force. He's like sending me job links to Space Force. I'm like,
it's like spam
Oh, yeah,
job
yeah.
links.
yeah. He's like,
I lean
space is the
over.
next war frontier. You should get in. Well, I'm like, Dad, I'm not joining Space Force. Okay, I'm
is the
almost 30.
future.
All right, I'm almost 30. I know what I'm going to do. It's not Space Force.
I'm sitting there talking to Mr. Phillip, and I'm like, what does the Space Force do? And he goes, I don't know. It's a new branch they made up a couple years ago.
I want to
And
hear
I was
that
like-
hymn now. I need to hear that hymn.
Yeah.
You have to YouTube it.
There's some interesting stuff. There's like kind of a Cold War being fought in space right now, believe it or not. Like China's figuring out ways to maneuver their satellites in orbits and stuff.
Listen, I don't even want to talk about it.
But I'm sitting there, I asked him what the Space Force does. He's like, I don't know. So I'm sitting there, and I wait a second, and I ask him, I whisper, and I was like, do they fight aliens? And he starts laughing.
Not yet.
He goes, you're funny. And I was like, why do you think we don't have aliens? Like, the Space Force is killing them all.
I mean, it might be true.
They have laser beam guns.
It seems like we might have killed some aliens in the 50s based on
We did not land on the
latest
moon.
releases.
No, I didn't say we didn't land on the moon. I said we didn't live stream it.
Yeah, no.
Oh, we
that's
didn't
what I
land
meant.
on the moon either. Mm-mm.
I don't think we live streamed it in the 60s.
No,
Period. Nobody's
that's
ever going to
crazy.
convince me
from
of
a
that.
That's
landline.
crazy.
I told my science teacher
That
that.
part. My Wi-Fi doesn't work at the mailbox.
Exactly.
I tell people this all the time. It's 2026. My Wi-Fi doesn't work at the mailbox.
But that landline.
But we streamed a moon landing in the 60s on black and white TV before microwaves. No.
We're gonna have to talk after this.
I told my science teacher
Okay,
that.
wait. Next episode though, we're
Conspiracies.
moon landing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I want to be here for that one.
Mom.
We'll have to talk about conspiracy theories.
I told my science teacher that, She looked at me like I was the dumbest person she ever met. You would
Her
have
science
to.
teacher's Miss Heyman. So you
W Miss Heyman. Yeah.
so you already know the look.
Like I told her, I was like, the moon landing, the recording of the moon landing wasn't real, and she was like,
You already know the
like
look.
she paused. She was handing out test papers, like graded test papers. She stops where she's standing, and she's like holding the papers in her hand, like there's different tests she made so nobody cheats, and like she's holding them in her hand, like on her forearm. She's like. She pauses. Like she stood there looking at me for like 5 minutes. And she was like, why do you think that? And I was like, my Wi-Fi stops working whenever I get 20 feet from my house. I was like, there's no shot we recorded that in the 60s.
That's a skill issue. Mine works for a mile away. So.
But would it work on the moon?
Well, no.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Then I have a valid
give me
point.
some time.
Also,
I could
the
probably
Earth is
look
round.
something up. But
He's gonna 3D print it.
Could you done it in the 60s? That's the key.
look, we had a lot of technology in the 60s. I mean, we had everything to go to the moon for sure.
I
It's more
don't doubt
analog.
that we
I mean,
went there. I'm saying we didn't live stream it.
That's
Greg's like, I'm so
this doesn't pass like the entry level logic test of like, all right, if we went to the moon, why would we not fake going to the moon, but then go through the trouble of faking the stream?
I'm just saying. I don't see how
Miss
it's possible.
Heyman did agree with me whenever I said Lee Harvey Oswald did not kill JFK.
Well, that's a whole nother. We're gonna have a whole conspiracy
Yeah.
theory episode, I guess. Okay, well, we're gonna let Valerie go because she has church today. So I really do appreciate you coming.
I
Yes.
appreciate you asking.
Yeah, and remember, sobritydidthat.com.
www.sobrietydidthat.
We'll
Yeah.
put it up. We'll put a QR code.
They're
on
going to put a QR code up, and I really do. I thank you for being here, and
Yes, thank you.
We're
sharing
all
your
very proud
story.
of you.
Yeah, we are. We're very proud of you. All right, stay tuned for the next episode of Locally Hated.